Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, y'all. Today we are talking we're going to be talking about another interesting subject, a very interesting subject. We're going to be talking about tough love or poor parenting. Mom sets up her son to be arrested, y'all. Mom sets up her son to be arrested. Now that's an interesting comment. That's an interesting concept when you think about it. But things like this can happen from time to time. Now, before I go too far into this, I'm going to say shout out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis, because y'all make up the fam around here. Appreciate y'all big time. Appreciate y'all big time. Shout out to the people who leave comments after the stream, because y'all are helping with the algorithm, helping the channel grow, and I definitely appreciate that. Shout out to the people who hype me up every chance they get. I know you only can do it so much, but when you save it for me, you're doing the Lord's work. Some people may say, you're doing the Lord's work. Well, no, honestly, I do appreciate it, and you definitely helped me grow the channel, so I'm very much appreciative of that. And shout out to all the people who hit the like button, because, of course, that also helps that algorithm and helps the channel grow. And y'all keep in mind, no matter when you hear the content, every day somebody's new. So even when you go back and you listen to other content from previous days, make sure you do those things to help grow the channel. Also, shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty. to become financial contributors over here at the Roger Report Live, because y'all help me justify doing this on a regular basis. Not that it needs to be justified, but y'all help me justify doing this on a regular basis. So shout out to my main man, Chief Rocker. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Shout out to Chief Rocker. And that's real talk. And I'm gonna say what's up to a few people to check in, because when you start the show, y'all, it's always great to see you have a few people, waiting on you to get going. It helps your self-esteem. Okay, it helps your self-esteem. See, you got some people waiting. So shout out to y'all. Know how we do it around here. The Highlander of today's stream, because there can only be one. Our main man, Hot Sauce, is in the building. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Glad to see that. Glad to see that. He's making it happen around these parts. Shout out to Trail Bentley coming also through, representing as he always does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Right behind him, we got Inspired Truth Broadcast in the building. Great to see you. Great to see you. My main man, Floyd Thompson, is representing. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Yay, yay. The Righteous Teacher is in the building. Good to see you. Good to see you. Patrick Saint, what's happening? What's happening? Superstar Jay Quick is here. What's going down, my brother? What's going down? Great to see you. Great to see you. Shout out to the pitmaster himself, Chef Mike's Roundtable is in the building. So shout out to him and the pit crew. Shout out to J Dub and Mr. Suge to you. Great to have y'all. Great to have y'all. We got Bucket in the house as well. And y'all, we about to get into it now. We about to get into it. Okay, Bronk checking in. What's good, my brother? What's good? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Y'all, if y'all check the links, y'all know here at the Roger Report Live, you always want to check to see if there's a link. You want to check to see if there's a link. I threw an interesting link in just for the comedy of it all. Okay, look, y'all. I don't know whose son this is. I got no idea whose son this is. Okay, I ain't got a clue. I just saw late last night. I just happened to see her. I said I had to add this link, y'all. I had to add. Now, I don't know if this is somebody doing good parenting, bad parenting, or what. Based on what the sons say, I don't think whoever talking to him is in the right at the moment. Okay, what now? If he their son, he got to roll with it. He got to roll with it. But I guess he's already learned to express his feelings. Maybe not to who he want to express it to, but maybe to a better and safer location. Maybe he want to say what he want to say to his people, but he said it to the internet. That's what it looked like to me. Now, shout out to that young white brother, okay? Talking about soft generations, okay? That young man, young as he is, say y'all accusing him of being soft. But y'all wouldn't even drink out the water fountain with black people. That's soft. I'm gonna say, y'all, it's hilarious to see a young white guy with a point. It's hilarious to see it. Yeah. He is off by some decades. He's probably off by some decades, but hey, we get his message. We get what he was trying to say. All right. And he's young enough that it's okay that he off a little bit. He's definitely young enough that it's okay that he's off a little bit, but I got to give that youngster some credit, y'all. I got to give that youngster some credit. You know, when white folks young, sometimes they just a little more pure, y'all. They just a little more pure when they're young. So shout out to him. And shout out to Floyd Thompson. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. Floyd says, you gonna learn today. He said children / adults don't believe until the bomb is dropped. After being warned repeatedly it was coming. Some people might not get a chance to get a last meal. Shout out to Mr. Thompson. Shout out to Mr. Thompson. He said hashtag tough love, hashtag long live the habitual line stepper. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate it. All right. All right. Now, y'all, we got this second clip that's really what the show is about today. We have a woman, okay, who she took a son out to dinner. Now, I'm going to tell y'all straight up, y'all. I've told y'all before, it's not a secret. All the stuff that we see on the internet, I don't think all of it be real. There's a lot of stuff that I never show y'all because I think it be fake. I'm just going to keep it real, y'all. I don't show y'all certain stuff because I think it be fake. Okay? I do think, I believe people put a lot of fake stuff up because they're trying to get attention and they think they're going to go viral. That's what I honestly believe. People just think they're going to go viral because they put up something that you could call nonsense. Now, I'm not going to accuse anybody, okay? I ain't going to accuse anybody. But there's certain stuff I know I don't use because I start recognizing basically actors or actresses that are in skits or whatever. I start recognizing them. So I don't use none of their stuff. I don't comment on none of their stuff because you're around a little bit too much. Okay, how you go around in every crazy scenario. So you just making skits trying to go viral. I ain't mad at these folks. I ain't mad at them. People try to find different licks, as they say. They try to hit different licks. So I ain't mad at somebody for trying to go viral. You got to do what you got to do, as they say. I guess you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you think is going to work for you. So it's all good. I ain't even tripping. But I ain't got to believe it, okay? I ain't got to believe it. Now, I'm going to say I'm also trying to put my mind, try to think about it from a younger person's perspective who grew up with social media. Because, I didn't grow up with social media. Social media was happening, okay? I remember it starting to be a thing, but, by the time social media was really there, I was already an adult. So it is what it is. I was already an adult. So wasn't popping like that for me. But I try to put my mind in their perspective on what I would or wouldn't record. And I'm going to keep it real. When it comes down to it, would I record a scene like this? We got a young man at a dinner table. All right. The young man is recording something. Now, my thing is, why is he recording this? I don't know. And there is a chance that you could be recording something before it goes into a different direction, or, something is going on and you want that particular thing on film. You want to save it for whatever reason. And then the next thing you know, it kind of switches off. So I say, okay, it could be a scenario where they were talking about a thing and then they changed the thing that they was talking about. And then he caught the whole thing on camera. I personally believe a lot of stuff that's fake, you'll get it from the top. Stuff that's real, you'll get it in the middle or in the mix of it. The thing is already happening. Stuff like that goes on. Right? So it could be, it couldn't be. But a lot of folks made a decision on what they think about it. Okay? And things like this can happen. So I don't know if it's real or not, but I accept that things like this could happen. And what do I mean? This woman having dinner with her family, okay, where she done took the son to dinner for his last meal to deal with stuff before she gets him arrested. All right. Now, I'm going to say this, y'all. Unless you are somebody with the police force, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to set up, I guess a sting for your son. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to do. Now, the woman said the police are outside. All right. And they're basically waiting on them to come out. My question is, how do you set this thing up? Now, also, she did say I'm saying it's possible because she did say that she had a warrant. She did something to set him up with a warrant for his arrest. So I'm going to assume he could have went to a police station at some point, made some type of complaint. So they would issue a warrant for his arrest. And then, yeah, you could set him up. You could go tell the police, well, this is what I'm going to do. I know he'll be home on, Thursday night, whatever the case is. He going to get home about 6 o'clock. I'm going to take him to a restaurant and y'all can get him from there. Is this possible? Sure. Okay. Is it possible? Yes, it could happen. So it could very much be real. Now, why the son would be recording this, because, if you're looking at her, she's talking directly to this son. So, I don't really believe it like that, but I know this could happen. All right. But you know what is real? The comments. The comments are real. Okay. So this is how people feel about the scenario who at least believe it's a real scenario. Okay. Now, I think about what the woman said. She said she set him up because he was bullying Ashley. Okay. He was bullying Ashley. Now, I'm trying to be realistic about this, y'all. What kind of bullying would a guy be doing to a girl? That's number one. What kind of bullying would a guy do to a girl? If she's talking to her son, okay, what is a son going to do to bully a girl? And what world do we live in where Ashley can get bullied and, everybody else just going to let that slide? And then I have questions about how old are these people? For you to be bullying somebody, where the police gonna get involved to arrest the person. I mean, you got a warrant out for his arrest. Do they do warrants for small children, y'all? You tell me, do they do warrants for minors? I'm not saying it's impossible. I ain't really thought about a warrant for a minor. I guess if they do a crime that's important enough, I'm pretty sure they will put out a warrant for a minor, because there's been some minors that have been accused of, murders, all kinds of stuff. So I would assume that you can get a warrant for a minor. What type of bullying we're talking about? Okay. So yeah, I'm not saying this is real. It could be, it may not be. Again, the comments are real. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this particular process that a mother can go get the cops to wait outside while they have a warrant for the child's arrest. And I'm just thinking, okay, what is he doing that everybody just lets it slide? All right. Now, y'all, I'm not saying people shouldn't do tough love. Okay. I'm not saying people shouldn't do tough love. Sometimes you got to be tough with your kids. But I'm also being realistic. Now, she said, I talked to Ashley's father. No, wait. She said, I had Ashley's father talk to you. Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. And I guess if you found out your child was bullying another child, it stands to reason maybe you would have the other child's parents talk to you. Now, she got a wedding ring on. Well, at least she has a ring placed on her wedding finger. Okay. It's on the right finger to say I'm married. Okay, or engaged, possibly engaged. Okay. She didn't mention her husband. Oh, wait a minute. Is her husband Ashley's dad? I was wondering about this, y'all, the way she said what she said. Now, my thing is this, y'all. If you are raising a son, if you're a mother raising a son, your son is bullying somebody to the point that you can get a police warrant, you can get a police warrant for your child. Whatever the kid is doing is good enough for a warrant. Is this truly an indication of a woman who wants to, have the best for her son? Or is this truly a woman who doesn't care about her son and just wants to get rid of him? Okay? Does she just want to get rid of her son? Now, we know, if y'all been around here for a good period of time, I don't have children myself. So I'm looking at this from a realistic standpoint. What would my son be doing bad enough, especially with a girl, that I wouldn't correct myself? If you're good parents, you're going to attempt to raise your children correctly. If you're involved parents, you're going to attempt to raise your children correct. That does not mean your child is going to do everything right. I do understand that. You can have great parents do stuff, but children are going to do bad stuff here and there. Okay? In today's climate, to be raising a boy that is picking on a girl, for me, a little hard to believe. I'm just going to keep it real. Just hard to believe that a boy is going to pick on a girl. But I'm going to give room because we got a lot of single mothers out here raising children that maybe a boy would act like a girl and pick on a girl. I'm not going to take that out the realm of possibility because due to the failures of single mothers raising their children, I'm going to say it's possible. But the way she talked about it, I was like, okay, well, is she married? Because she got the ring on. And then when she says she talked to Ashley's father, she's talking about her husband, okay, that is not the father of the son she's talking to. So you had him, you got rid of that guy. You later on down the road somewhere, you got married, and either you and that guy had a child together, or that guy had a child already, a girl named Ashley. So, where are you picking on her? Because are you picking on her at school? Or are you picking on the girl at home? Now, if you got a husband, all right, your husband talk to him. So your husband can't correct a boy picking on his daughter? Is that what we pushing out here? So yeah, for me, it's a lot of mixed stuff going on here. A lot of mixed stuff that could be. Now, she's out to dinner. She's talking to the son herself. Okay? It's not a couple talking to the son. She got the wedding ring on, but she's talking to the son. Okay, no indication that there's a male there. All right. Now, I'm not saying she can't be with a guy who's at work right now. He could be working. This could be like second shift. He's he doing a 4 to 12, something. So he's not there, but they got this planned out already. So now the father's gonna be with the mom. The father's gonna be down with the mom calling the police on the son and having a warrant. Even if it ain't his son technically, but he loves the woman, but he wants her son to get arrested and deal with the government instead of getting the problem fixed in the house. Interesting concepts to deal with, if you ask me. These are interesting concepts to deal with. Now, again, y'all, I'm not saying it didn't happen, because I understand the climate of the world we live in, and people may be doing some very retarded things that I wouldn't think is happening. Okay? I hadn't thought about it, but I got to give room to stupidity in the things that I see. I got to give room. Okay? Shout out to Floyd Thompson one more again. And I got to say, shout out to you for the Trail Bentley tax on the first super chat you sent. And also shout out to you for the Trail Bentley tax on this super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He says, if it's not fake, Mom just gynocidized her son into the prison, the prison. Well, I guess the school to prison pipeline, or well, he said prison to pipeline system. Just because he wants a high school sweetheart, dad didn't get a warrant. Now, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, it could be something where, because I was like, okay, does he like this person named Ashley? You know, is this a girl he's trying to get at? You know, but the word bullying was used, not harassment, like a girl that won't leave her alone. How do you bully a girl? Okay. How do you bully a girl? Now, Floyd says, I see it every day here in Atlanta, Roger. Now, I'm going to say there's room for stuff to happen that even that I have to think about it. You know, I'm not saying it ain't happening. Okay. I'm not saying it ain't happening. So yeah, I would, if she said you wouldn't leave Ashley alone because you like that little girl, Ashley, you gonna leave her alone, something like that. I would say, okay, but he like Ashley, but he he probably a young kid, don't know what to do because he liked this girl. He tried to figure out what's gonna work. But they said bully. How do you bully a girl? You know, that concept just didn't make sense to me. How does a boy bully a girl? But the boy is old enough to hold the phone up, because it ain't like his little kids, y'all. He got a phone that he holding, recording this with the mom. So how was a guy that age bullying a girl? I'm gonna say I ain't connected those things yet. Maybe somebody give me an idea, but I haven't connected those things yet. I don't see how a boy bullies a girl that's that big. Okay. Now, guy could be over 18 to make it a little bit easier to get a warrant, because you could be in high school and still, it could be senior year. A lot of folks, senior year, a lot of people gonna hit 18 before they get out of high school. Yes, there'll be some who have a birthday after they graduate, but most kids gonna hit their 18th birthday while they're in school. So yeah, a little bit easier to get a warrant, I would think. A little bit easier to get a warrant. That makes sense to me. That makes total sense to me. They'll get a warrant. All right. Now, but I'm gonna say, as a parent, though, you know how police are. You know the relationship that black men have with police. Can you be a good mother and turn your son over to the police? Now, if it's like a murder or something going on, yeah, I know some people just gonna let you deal with it. They're gonna be like, the crime is too big. You know how we measure crime as humans? Yeah, you done murdered somebody, you need to go deal with this, how you need to deal with it. Or you done hurt somebody real bad, you didn't assault and battery, you done ran over somebody with a car. Maybe you did a drinking and driving situation, you hit somebody, hurt them, or you may have killed somebody, vehicular manslaughter case going on. I could see reasons that any black person may turn their children over to the cops. I can see if it's a big enough thing. But bullying some girl named Ashley, we getting warrants for this? We're getting warrants for bullying a girl named Ashley. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to say, for me, interesting concept. I'm still not putting those pieces together, y'all. I'm still not putting those pieces together. So again, I don't know if this is real, but there are people who make comments, and the comments come from a real place in their heart. Okay, comments come from a real place in their heart, and I see people saying a whole lot of stuff. All right, a lot of stuff. All right. Now, one person said this is not bullying. It sounds like a case of domestic violence. See, without true reference of what's going on, a lot of stuff is in the air. Now, I saw a whole lot of comments like this that said, give her flowers. That's what a good mother does. Teach her children lessons. Salute this queen. Now, I don't agree with that at all, y'all. I don't agree with that at all. I honestly thought this was like one of the dumbest things I've seen, because being realistic, if you're a parent and you have a boy that's bullying a girl, why can't you get that fixed in your own house? Now, again, y'all, the young lady's wearing a ring. I'm looking at where the ring is located. So to me, it would seem like an engagement ring. Maybe not married. Okay, maybe not married, but there's a little bit of a rock on there, so that could be an engagement ring. Okay. So my thing is, you at least engage. You said I had Ashley's father talk to you. Why didn't you have his father talk to him? That's what's blowing me, y'all. Why didn't his father talk to him? If this is a good mother, why didn't his father talk to him? What black man allows a boy to bully his daughter? Yeah, I mean, let's be realistic about this, y'all. We know how black fathers are when you say something wrong with their daughter. What black man is going to let a boy bully his daughter? So even by saying that she talked to, he had Ashley's dad talk to him. So what, he couldn't get his point across? Okay, Ashley's dad's so soft that he couldn't get his point across. The son don't understand there's danger involved because you're bullying his daughter at this particular point. So the dad is aware, according to what she's saying, but the dad ain't did nothing to the young man, but didn't talk to him in a way that he would stop. Now I can understand a man not just hauling off if it's somebody else's kid. Okay, yeah, you tell me your son is messing with my daughter. I'm gonna talk to the son. Yeah. Now, if he punched the son, yeah, okay, makes sense to me. But I can also understand, okay, you don't punch the son because if you punch the son, you're about to get arrested. So you talk to the son, but you would talk to the guy in a way that this son, son of this mother, would understand there is a real threat here. If I keep bothering this girl, there's a real threat here, and I'm gonna have to answer to this man. So I would think that would put a kibosh on that situation. But hey, it don't have to be that way. It don't have to be that way, okay? Now, I saw a lot of people praising the mom. Hey, good call, mom. Tough love is hard. God bless you. Okay? These are random things that people are putting up. That mom is a real one. Children need to be accountable for their actions. Okay? That's a great mom. She handled it perfectly. See, when I look at these random comments, I wonder I ain't gonna even say I really wonder. It's telling me where black people are to a certain degree. And it could be non-black people making these comments too. Now, I do think that, okay? One says, well done, mom. As someone who was bullied, I wish anyone has stopped it for me. Now, they spell mom with an M-U-M, so that's going to tell me probably somebody not from this country said it. But you see stuff in other countries too, okay? Some, based on Avatar, looks like a black woman. It says, this must hurt her to the core, but she loves her son and herself enough to teach him a real life lesson, okay? Now, I think that's kind of stupid. Why would you involve your child with the police if it's an issue that you could take care of at home? I think this is absolutely stupid. I'm going to keep it real, y'all. I think this is absolutely stupid. Now, y'all may disagree with me. You may disagree. Shout out to Floyd Thomas. He says, it's got to be a separate father. The gynocracy won't let black men have sole custody of the female children. Well, see, this is the thing. This is the thing, Floyd. I totally get the way it was said. Okay, this is, maybe it's Ashley's father. I can get that. But who is Ashley's father to them? Is Ashley's father her husband? Or is Ashley's father just a guy who also sends his child to the same school? Okay, because I gotta think about that. And since we're talking about children who obviously live with their parents, you call the cops on a boy to so you want the police of your town to deal with your black son because she black. Okay, we see her. So that's the indicator that the son is black. So you call the police on your black son and you tell the police that your son is doing something, but they will issue a warrant for his arrest. So what is the something? Are you saying that your son is assaulting a girl? Because what are you telling these cops that they willing to show up? Because you out at dinner, they willing to show up and wait for y'all to come out this restaurant to arrest this guy. What you tell them? Okay, because to me, I think they would do this on a serious. For you to be able to go to a police station and get a warrant, okay, for I won't say somebody that's a teenager. It's got to be somebody in a teenage age around. Could be 18, could be under 18, but this got to be a teenager because, again, y'all, the teenager got the phone. The teenager is recording if this is real. So we're talking to police about teenagers and we having the teenagers come get picked up. Now, see, if it was somebody else, like, yeah, I'm going to get the police to go to get this kid arrested. I know he's going to be at this particular restaurant. That would make sense to me. But a mom taking her son for a last meal before he starts dealing with the judicial system, I don't even really buy this, y'all. I don't really buy this. I'm just telling the truth. I don't buy this. And I'm also say, if you're raising a son that you cannot raise properly, if you cannot raise your son properly, you shouldn't have custody of your child. So I have no thoughts that this is a good mother, y'all. I'm going to tell you straight up. I have no thoughts about her being a good mother. To me, she sounds like a horrible mother. Why would I want my black son to deal with the police over an issue of bullying? Now, I don't even understand how a boy bullies a girl. Okay, I don't get it. Are we talking about at home? Are we talking about at school? I don't get what you mean by bullying when you got a boy and a girl involved. I don't get it. And that's just real talk, y'all. I just don't see it. It don't compute to me. All right. Which is also a reason why when I think about this, I be like, this got to be a skit of some kind. It's got to be a skit of some kind. I just don't believe it. Okay. But hey, I'm not a parent. I will grant y'all that I'm not a parent. But to me, it just sounds like a terrible woman. Because I'm thinking you're raising a son that you can't control. Okay. You call the police on your own son because you are what? You're a bad parent. I think this is a horrible mom. Any mom. Now, if the father of the child is dead, okay, I can understand something there. But you still should have other family to call on. 9 times out of 10. Now, unless you was the only child and you married the only child, what happened to the uncles? Okay, what happened to granddad? Okay, child got 2 granddads. Where the granddads at? You can't, within the family, get this situation corrected. As retarded as it sounds to me that a boy is bullying a girl, I mean, that's a very retarded sounding thing to me. And again, y'all, what is going to get the police to issue a warrant? When you comes to police, you can tell them assault. You can't say bullying. Okay? There is no law against bullying. You can have someone arrested for assault. So are you telling the cops that you have a child that's assaulting another child because you want the police to come get your child over an assault. You literally want to tell the police your child, your male black son. Okay, you got a son. This son is of course a male. This black male is assaulting your daughter. That's what you want to tell the cops, so they can react in a way that's gonna say violence is probably necessary. So you want the police to have a violent reason to address your son. It don't add up to me. Again, y'all, I ain't saying it ain't real. I'm just saying this don't add up to me. To me, the comments are real. I've been seeing a lot of comments that just wasn't rolling right, if you ask me. I saw a whole lot of comments and it just wasn't rolling right to me. Now, shout out to OS1 Sailor Main. Okay. He said, nah, she should have got it. She should have got that extension cord out or called his father, one of the grandfathers or an uncle to handle him. Okay, so you thinking of this more the same way I'm thinking of this. This don't even make sense to me. And when do we have enough information to say you just shouldn't have custody of the child? Because if you're raising a son that you cannot control, because to me that's all you're saying when you got to bring the police in for something like this. Now I understand air blue moon, y'all. There'll be a child that's just so rebellious that you can have a mother and a father, but you just can't get a hold of that particular kid. I understand that stuff could happen. I don't believe it happens often, but there are some children born and they just have this super rebellious spirit. They ain't gonna be no good in society, period. But where's tough love when you're trying to get your son arrested? Because again, ain't no bully in charge. So the most reasonable conclusion I can come to about why the police would come for this son at the restaurant, this is an assault charge. Because it's got to be something that the police could arrest him on. She said, we got a warrant for your arrest. What can you get a warrant for? It's got to be something. So there's got to be at least an assault. Could be an assault and battery, but it's got to be at least an assault because we're talking about warrants now. Now, shout out to Charles Gus III. He says tough love. You think it's tough love to have your son arrested? And your concept of what he's doing wrong is bullying a girl? Because I'm going to say, Charles, I'm going to have to disagree with you 100% if you actually mean that this was a good idea. This sounds like lazy parenting. This sounds like a mother who does not need custody of her son. And I got to ask y'all, how bad does it have to get for us to believe that a woman should have custody over her child? If we're in a society where we believe in taking children from parents. Now, see, I'm a person, my thing is, we ain't got to take no child from their parents. Parents should be able to raise their kids how they want to. But if you buy into the thought process that children can be taken from their parents, well, if you agree with that, how much she got to show you that she's not worthy to raise a child? How can a woman need to call the police on her own son and still be looked at as a good mother? If that's where we are in society, do we even want children raised properly? Because I'm going to say this, and it's not against anybody who disagrees. I'm just saying, when I sit down and think about these thoughts together, to me, it sounds like we don't want children raised properly. You have a mother raising a child. A child cannot become an adult without the mother deciding the police needs to be involved. Okay? If the mother needs to get the police involved, doesn't that mean the mother failed? Y'all tell me, okay, when did the mother fail? Because I got punished when I was a child. I got different punishments when I was a child. I had to clean this. You know, I couldn't go here, couldn't go there. You know, I got actual whoopings. I got punished when I was a child. So the police never had to get involved when I was growing up. When I was a child, my family did not call the police on me. If the police are called on me from inside the household or someone who lives in the household, is that not an indication that my parents are failures? When is a mother doing a bad enough job that we actually need to think about it? Okay, I'm putting out a concept that maybe we don't really think about as a people. When is the mother doing a poor enough job that we should be able to decide that this is just a bad mother? Okay. Shout out to Bronk. I will agree with this statement. He says, I'm the police in my house. And that makes all the sense in the world to me. That makes all the sense in the world to me. Why would you need to call the police to your own home? I understand if it's somebody else's kid, but if it's your kid, I mean, this concept is so foreign to me. Yeah, you know, it's hard for me to connect this together. Again, y'all, I'm not even saying this ain't a real situation. The idea that's going on in this presentation is so foreign to me that it's hard for me to believe this is even real. I'm not saying it ain't real. It's hard for me to take it as a real thing. To me, it seems like somebody made it up to try to go viral. That's what it seemed like. That's how far it is from where I am. Okay? I understand there is a world that we live in where things are possible. This seems so asinine to me that my first instinct is this got to be a skit. It's got to be a skit. Now, as I looked through the comments that people were putting on this, I was like, "Well, it's a whole." Now, it was a ton of women that was agreeing that the mother should have this boy arrested. Okay, it was a ton of women, and I saw guys agreeing that the mom should have this boy arrested. And I'm just sitting here like, no, shouldn't she be arrested? How do you have a son that you can't raise, but you should have custody of the son? What does a woman have to do to show she's not a good mother? Because if you got to get your own son arrested, is that not an admission that I don't know what I'm doing? Is that not an admission that I'm not good at parenting? Is that not an admission that I cannot handle my job as a parent? This don't make no sense to me at all. Now, again, y'all, I understand that every blue moon you'll have a child that's born that is just going to be an uncontrollable person. But them folks, they going to do murders. You know, you'll have sexual assaults. They're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. And, you know, they going to end up in jail. They going to end up, you know, going through the court system. They going to get a prison sentence. Then they going to end up in prison somewhere. Probably end up in solitary confinement from time to time. You know, maybe on maximum lockdowns and things like that because they just won't get it together. Okay? They just won't get it together. I understand that type of stuff could happen, but that ain't the average person. That's just nowhere near the average person. Okay? Shout out to the RX. He says, Roger, I was raised by both my parents. The phrase, I'll let your father deal with you, was like a death sentence to now see, that I understand. That I understand. I do believe you could have a mother in a situation with a male child that's out of pocket enough that she don't even want to deal with you. Okay? And what she's gonna do to get you handled, she gonna hit you with Don't worry about it. I'm gonna tell your dad. I ain't gonna even do that. You know what? I'm letting you off the hook right now. You ain't even got to worry about this. But wait till your dad come home. All right? Wait till your dad come home. All right? That makes sense to me. That made a lot of kids straighten up. Wait till your daddy come home. Because I ain't even finna bother with you. Go and do what you was doing. I ain't finna sweat it. But when your daddy get here, we gonna see what he said about the situation. Okay? When your daddy get here, we gonna see what he say about the situation. Shout out to Floyd Thompson as well. Appreciate you again, my brother. Appreciate you again. He said the mother failed when she didn't let the dad lead. Now, see, this is the thing, y'all. This is the thing. I'm trying to hear out and say in my head that this could be, because again, y'all, this so far from me. I just take it that this gotta be a skit. It's just gotta be a skit. It may not look like a skit. I'm really trying to put the pieces together to see how is not a skit. You got the cops outside, so you got the cops with at least an assault warrant, where they'll even come, quote unquote, surround the restaurant. But you'll have a unit up front. You got a unit in the back in case he try to get out the back. Okay, because I'm not saying the cops won't do this. I know the cops, they just ain't gonna sit anywhere at any random time. I know they're not gonna do that. So okay, well, she got it arranged. She it's got to be at least an assault for to send two cars and one at the front of the restaurant, one at the back. I can get that. I can get that. She done supplied them a photo of him. Boom, this is what he looked like. It's a young lady named Ashley that he's been assaulting for a good period of time now. Ashley is ready to testify. You get all that together, I can see it. They go put a warrant out for this kid. But to go to dinner talking about the cops is outside for this boy, if mom got to do all that, didn't mom fail? If mom got to do all that, didn't mom fail? Okay. Now I'm with Floyd. He said the mother failed when she didn't let the dad lead. Well, you know what? Obviously, she's not on that. And again, y'all, if you look at her in that restaurant, she got a ring on the finger that to me is at least an indication it's an engagement ring. I ain't gonna say it's I'm not gonna say that she married, okay? But she at least engaged. So you got a man around and ain't nothing happening. And that maybe it's one of those things where it's not my son, so I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. So he ain't gonna say call the dad. So you got a man that's about to marry you. If this is just an engagement ring, the man don't want to get involved with himself because he like, well, the boy too big. I don't want to deal with it or whatever the case is. So that guy ain't gonna tell you to call the son's father. He ain't gonna say it. I'm just saying, y'all, to me, it's a lot of stuff that just don't add up. It don't add up to me, at least not with her being a good mother. Okay? But people ain't saying she ain't a good mother. People are praising her for being a great mother. That seems to be the general concept of what people were saying. Now, I found this video a few days ago. Okay, so there's been more stuff added, but a lot of people are still saying that this is a great mother. Now, y'all, I'm just scrolling down the comments, just hitting random comments, and there's a lot of praise. That's a true mother. Respect to her. Random comment, okay? Random comment, okay? Now this one got a name where it could be a female, says, good mom, bullying is so terrible. Now I just take my finger, scroll it a little bit, let it roll. She just saved that girl's life. For real, for real. Parents who can hold their children accountable are heroes. This is the random stuff I see. Another one. That's a good mom. Okay. Whole lot of praise. Heart, heart, heart. That's how you stand for what's right. Thank you for being a parent. You know, and I'm not saying there ain't no guys involved in this too, y'all. Okay, I ain't saying there ain't no guys involved in this. I see a lot of stuff that there's indicators that they're women, but it's a couple things I see also that seems like it's a couple guys sprinkled in there through here. It's a couple guys sprinkled in here somewhere, you know. Random female face I just seen, y'all. He wasn't being a bully in school. He was abusing his girlfriend, and I'm really happy that our good parents out there to keep their kids from doing things that will hurt others. Okay, so now she done made up a whole scenario. Okay, it's a female in the photo. She done made up a whole scenario. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say to that one. Because when she used the word bullying, if this was a domestic violence issue, I do get domestic violence can happen, but if this was the domestic violence issue, again, now you're saying that it's domestic violence, but she talked to the guy's father, and the guy gonna let some boy domestically violate his daughter. Yeah, see, it don't make sense when you try to add that, it don't even make sense anymore. Okay, it don't make sense. All right. Uh, Another random comment. I truly admire how this mother is handling this situation. She is speaking respectfully. She set it up, knowing he would not stand for this, but had the police available to handle him. Y'all, now I ain't read this stuff ahead of time, y'all. I read a couple comments when I first saw this video, but this was days ago. I'm just taking my finger, hitting the screen, and randomly, let a comment pop up, and this is the type of stuff I'm seeing. It's a whole lot of support for this woman. So to me, I think this is just any situation where a nigga is going to jail. That's what our society is cool with. It don't actually have to make sense. All we need to know is that nigga going to jail. That's what the real issue is. Okay? That nigga going to jail. So any scenario you set up where that nigga goes to jail is right. It's cool. Everybody made the right move. There's nothing to worry about. Keep it going the way it's going. Now, a lot of these folks white, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Are some of these people black? I'm sure they are too. Okay, video, I think it would have had like 17,000 comments on it. A lot of folks was chiming in. Whole lot, for whatever reason, a lot of folks was chiming in on this one. Okay. Yeah, it says 17K on the comments, y'all. That's what it said on the comments, 17K. So we know over 17,000 comments were made. And I'm going to say, based on what I've seen, just about all of them is pro, this nigga need to go to jail. Even though for me, this don't even make sense. It don't really make sense. It just don't. Shout out to Black Guru Strike. He says, really hope it's a skit. Otherwise, it's one of the worst examples of parenting I have recently witnessed. Now, Black Guru, I hope it's a skit myself. Because I just don't see why the son would be recording his mama saying this. But again, I'm going to give room that they could have been talking about something else. And then mama kind of hit him with this all of a sudden. But I'm going to say, y'all, as black folks, there is parenting. I'm not saying everybody going to parent the absolute best. We all going to have different degrees of parenting. But if you are a parent that needs to get your child arrested, not somebody else's kid, if you need to get your child arrested, you're a failure as a parent. That's what I think. The only exception I'm gonna say, if you have a just totally rebellious child that ends up raping and killing folks, like on a serial rapist or killer, that might not be you. That just might be the person. But if it ain't that, you failed as a parent. That's what I honestly believe. If you got to call the police in, you need the government to help you raise your own child. Yeah, that don't sound like you a good parent at all to me. Sound like you a complete failure. And that's real talk. And I know that might hurt somebody's feelings, but that don't mean I'm gonna change what I'm saying. Again, if you got somebody who's a serial rapist, a serial killer, okay, that's somebody who truly has something wrong with them in the head. But if it ain't something like that, man, you just a terrible parent. And that's why you got the result you got. But I'm gonna hold fast. We're gonna let somebody who is a parent get the mic and see what he says. Black Guru, you have the flow, my brother. You have the flow.
Hey, Roger, thanks for having me. I hope you and the folks in the public chat are doing well. Look, I don't know, these days in social media, it's kind of hard to tell, what is real, what's a skit, what's AI generated or whatever. So I'm not going to comment too strongly about, the particular woman or whatever being presented there in any really sort of strong way, because I'm not sure of the authenticity of what's being presented there. In fact, what is presented there kind of attests to the probability of it being artificial. I think the more interesting aspect of what's being presented there is as you read through the comments, there obviously are a lot of people who are very happy to observe what everyone would presume to be a black boy, obviously given the woman presented as his mother, a black boy being sort of legally railroaded by his own mother, and the mother even appearing to kind of celebrate his demise. I mean, and one of the reasons why I kind of question the authenticity of it is, she basically refers to him going away, whatever, for a long period of time. I mean, those are not the things that a mother, even one who was particularly upset with her son, would so casually say, and say without herself, if she would say it, she would likely be doing it quite emotionally and quite tearfully. So, again, I question whether it's real. But again, I think the more interesting thing about it is how you could make a video like that, be very casual about either, pretending, assuming it's not real, pretending to destroy the life of somebody who, I mean, at this point, we don't even know if this person would be a minor, for example. And his mother be very casual about destroying his life. Been no trial, well, you call the police, you didn't call an attorney for him? I mean, at least you could call the police. Can you at least give him an attorney? I mean, there's so much bad here. But again, the most interesting part about this, and the least fortunate part about what's being presented here, is how easily everyone, so many people, not everyone, but so many people, tens of thousands of people, I think there were like over 17,000 comments. And most of the ones you can see fairly quickly were celebratory of what this woman was doing. So I think that's the most interesting part of this.
Honestly, the comments is the reason I even use it to do a show with, because even when videos are fake, the comments be real. These are people expressing their real feelings behind a particular situation. Now, I went back and looked at it again. Now, she did say, "Your dad." She said, "Your dad." So she's trying to suggest that she tried to talk to the son, and his dad actually tried to talk to the son. So I'd say that part wrong. I listened carefully. She said, "Your dad, your dad." So, They possibly are a couple, but dad just not at dinner, I guess. Now I would say if they are a couple, it
Well, I mean,
seems
that's the other
odd
thing
that
too.
dad wouldn't be at
What's
dinner.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and the fact that because the only reason the dad wouldn't be there, assuming they aren't together, is if he actually agreed with that, and he disagreed with what she's doing, and she elected to do it anyway. That's the only reason she she would do that. Again, assuming this is all real. Uh, so which would you then also then create estrangement between her and his father, because then she would have kind of gone against something he would have wanted done. I don't know. It's hard. I'm hard pressed to think of many black men who would sign off on having their son railroaded this way. And then his mother being the agent of of executing this thing. I can't think of many men who would support that. And then if they supported it, I'm very doubtful they would just let the woman do it outside of their presence. So again, that's why I kind of question what I'm really watching here. But yes, a lot of what's presented here that's questionable. So then that makes even more interesting the people's kind of lethal support of it, even though it may be mythical.
Yeah. Yeah, to me it does seem just fake, and which I say it right from the beginning, y'all. It seems fake to me. A lot of pieces just don't seem to fit together in this particular thing, but that don't have nothing to do with these people in the comment section. Okay, they saw what they saw. A lot of people just bypass, whatever intellect they have to say, we got this nigga. This is good. This is good. We got this nigga. Shout out to moms for setting this nigga up. Shout out to mom. So it say what direction they want things to go in. Now, shout out to Trail Bentley. Appreciate you, my brother. And appreciate the 57-cent Trail Bentley tax, of course. He says, anyone considering placing their black son into this American Just Us system ain't us. Now, I'm going to say, Mr. Bentley, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Now, I will say I do believe a lot of black mothers will call the police on their son because they don't consider their son the same as them. Now, I'm gonna say from a general standpoint, because I see it on a regular basis, y'all. When I listen to black women say certain things, when they talk about black folks, they don't include the males. Women are pretty much out for themselves. Males will be used in inconveniences only. So I don't think these black mothers see even their own sons as something they really need to can truly concern themselves about in any kind of shape, way, or form. So I do believe a lot of sisters will call the police on their son. I do believe that, but that don't mean they us.
Well, you said something very interesting, but that speaks to a broader view of a somewhat very sort of nasty view about black males, men and boys. You said that, obviously, the mother has to resort to doing this. She has grossly failed as a parent. Of course, I would agree with that again, assuming this is real. But what it really says is that people view black males, men and boys, they don't view them as human beings that are going to be raised and thus their behavior is going to be largely a product of how they are or are not being raised. They review them as a regressive being of some sort, a lesser being of some sort, and so their behavior is inherently bestial and just sort of carnal and feral. And so, the mother does not get blamed for what happened. Society never blames the mothers for really anything that the children that they almost very often exclusively raise. They don't blame them for what the sons do, because the black males are some wild beast that you don't raise, that you don't love and care for. It's something you survive, and if necessary, cage and or destroy.
Absolutely. And shout out to Luckman. Luckman says, well, this jail visit will unplug him of any dependency. Now see, this is the thing though. Unfortunately, with the criminal justice system we have, you could go into it as a young man and you could come out way worse than you were when you first went into it. I mean, we call it the rehabilitation system, but let's be honest about it. For a young man, it might be your start to a total criminal lifestyle. Because what they not about is rehabilitating anything. And they want you to come back. Anybody who goes to prison, if you actually go through the process and you end up going to prison, they want you to come back. If you get out, they want you coming back.
If the people that's supposed to love you and care for you are the ones who enabled your incarceration and conviction, arrest, incarceration, and conviction and incarceration, what's the likelihood you're going to respond positively to any kind of rehabilitative efforts? I mean, because you've essentially been abandoned by the people who are supposed to care for you the most. I mean, let's say you've gotten to the point where you've done this. I mean, there was supposed to be a lot of other stuff happening. There was supposed to be psychiatrist visits, psychologist visits, maybe even medicinal attempts before you get to the point where you're calling the police, for Christ's sake. A whole lot of other stuff was supposed to happen before you got to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna say this seems to be very common for young black males. I'm gonna say it's very common that people would treat them in a very negative way. I've seen a lot of stories where women did call the police on their sons. You kind of shake your head, and you feel bad for the boy, because my thing is like, what is the boy doing big enough for his mama to call the police on? She should see herself as a failure if she got to call the police. But because women will do things according to their image, it's socially acceptable for a black woman to call the police on her own son. If you don't believe me that it's socially acceptable, just look at the comments in this particular video. It's clearly socially acceptable to call the police on your black son. Because them comments show, we just want that nigga off the streets. That's what the comments show. It's hard for me to even look at this and say how this even could be real. The comments make it real clear. We want that nigga off the streets. So it's very much socially acceptable to call the police on your black son. Now, if he goes through a process and end up going to prison, let's just say he's 17. Now he go to prison. Okay, he come out at 21 years old. Where he going? Is he going back to the same mom that got him locked up in the first place? Where is he going at this point? So he pretty much guaranteed to go back. Because now he's 21 years old. Mama gonna say, well, we already had to send you to prison the first time. I already did everything I could for you. I couldn't get you right. I had to call the police on you myself. Is that the woman is that who he's going home to? How is that supposed to work out? Because sound like he about to be homeless and he gonna have to commit crimes to feel like he can survive. That's what it sounds like to me. But see, we push black boys in certain situations, then all of a sudden we surprised they committed a crime, which don't make any sense to me at all. But I do believe that black women are in a place where they feel like calling the police on their black son is just 100% okay. And since it's not going to hurt their image, they're going to continue to do it. Now, this ain't the first video I came across with some mother was supposedly getting her son locked up. This one seems fake to me, but I seen some ones that seem very much real to me. Okay. But again, y'all, on this particular one, I actually looked at the comment section, which I don't do a lot of times. I looked at the comment section. I saw overwhelmingly how people wanted this boy. And I'm going to say, based on how they saw it, they wanted this nigga to get locked up. And they totally cool with that. So this is the America we live in, where you even got people from outside the country talking about lock that nigga up. Mama, you did a great thing. No one is saying anything about the mom fail. I don't see no comments like, Mom, that's a little too much. Why don't you just, give a son to the dad? I ain't seen nothing like that in there. Now, I ain't going to say I've seen all of them, y'all, because, again, it's over 17,000 comments. But I didn't see anybody really saying, hey, Mom, you got other options. Why do all this? That ain't the sentiment. The sentiment is, Mom, you did great. Basically, they might as well have said you should have been called the cops on this nigga. They might as well have said that based on how these comments are. So if you're a black boy in America, everybody pretty much wants you to go to jail. Now, it's not going to be every single person, but you got to believe you in a society where at least 80% of the people in this society want you in the jail system some kind of way, and they hope you go to prison. Because y'all, jail and prison is different. Jail is a start ground. Prison means it's pretty much over with. You about to serve that sentence. Good luck to you on finding a way to get out once you in prison. But jail for a black boy, you still pretty much going to prison. There's a very good chance you're going to end up in prison if you're a black boy in jail. And this is the way your society wants it. And I do think black men should think about this when we call ourselves looking at another black man and we think he needs to go to prison. Yeah, now if you doing stuff that's absolutely wrong, I ain't tripping you going to prison. You know the game. Okay? But my thing is we should pay attention to the game before we so quick to say a black man needs to go. Because society has clearly said we want him there. All right. Now we got another guest coming up, so I'm gonna slow down right here. We gonna get it back to Preacher Sauce. Preacher Sauce, you got it, my brother.
Thank you, Roger. Hope all's well. Shout out to you, Black Guru. Hope everything is fine. Hope everyone is being blessed and sanctified. Shout out to the chat. Hope y'all are blessed as well. This is a very, very, very interesting topic with a lot of different dynamics and a lot of avenues you can kind of pursue and analyze. But first, I want to give a shout out to my main man, that white nigga in the first spot, where he was talking about how white people were soft during Jim Crow. I mean, made a lot of sense to me. But when we're looking at the woman, right? The woman talking to her child, and I don't know where the father is, but she was definitely like, I talked to you, your father talked to you, things like that. I don't know if they're divorced and or born out of wedlock or something like that, but it kind of gives me that. Failure really starts at conception. If you're gonna have a child out of wedlock, you failed your child. The Bible says that let two come and procreate, let two become one, meaning that you need a mother and a father so that you can have this child. And so, when you're having children out of wedlock, we're already at the failure level. It's just now how do we manage a situation that I failed at because she failed her child providing providing a two-parent household with the biological father. Now, when we move on to the actual dinner, then I saw something different. I saw failure, then I saw hate. Because if your mom is going to sit there and say, I brought a nice dinner for you, I have steak for you, before I send your ass to jail because this is going to be the last good meal you're going to eat. That's diabolical. Because if he's young, that nigga going to be passed around, right? So he going to go from eating steak to eating dick. And so for his mom to just outright say that shit from the beginning is dastardly. And we can see the hate there. Now, I'm all for like the back in the day 90s scared straight, where you put him in jail for a couple hours, let him think he's going to jail, but no paperwork, things like that. But if you're really gonna feel that Ashley, because I think this is what I see. I think Ashley is her daughter, and but they have like Ashley probably has like they're like half brothers and sisters, and I think Ashley is her daughter with the new nigga. And at the end of the day, she wants to please the new dude. And on top of that, his father, she felt screwed the more. So since I can't do him dirty, I'm going to do you dirty because when I look at you, I see him. Just like when we look at Boys in the Hood, right? Ricky, she loved. Doughboy, she hated. Because whenever she sees Doughboy, she sees Doughboy's father and how much hatred she had for Doughboy's father. So she admitted that hatred onto him. And that's what we're seeing here at the steak dinner. Right? Your father fucked me over, so now I'm going to send you to jail and then going to pop your cherry. And I'm going to land it right here for now.
All right. Now, shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. He says, pathetic parenting to prison pipeline. Now, I do believe that this is what is going on. I do believe a lot of, these kids that's going to prison or these kids that's getting set up to go to prison because you technically may not go until you're an actual adult. Yeah, that's what's really going on at the end of the day. It's parent failure, and I'm gonna say it's parent failure because number one, you got a woman raising a boy that you don't really care about in the first place, and then when you don't really care about your son, and you live in America, and the whole system is set up to get the boy to go to prison because that's where you can have a legal slave. What do you expect? That's how I look at it. What do you really expect? The women are down with the boys going to prison. Black women are down with the women going to prison. Why do y'all think they want them to not be raised by their father so much? That's not just a personal choice. They want to consider themselves being good servants to white supremacy because they want white men. It's an offer to white men. I'm offering my child as a sacrifice to white supremacy, so one of y'all to pick me. Y'all need to know I'm down. I'm not saying this is the smart thing to do. I'm just saying this is why I believe they be doing it.
I think it's hatred. I guess you didn't hear my opening.
I didn't hear your opening. Unfortunately, I had to take a call, but I didn't hear it. But
yeah. So basically, what I said was that she a lot of times she sees the father. When she looks at him, she sees his father, the man that she hated, and so since she feels that the father fucked her over, she gonna send him to jail to get fucked over. That's why she said that I prepared steak for you for your last meal because when you go to jail, you ain't gonna eat like that for a while. Because we know niggas like him will be eating dick for a little bit, be passed around.
No, I think that's part of it.
Well, I do think the fact that she, again, assuming this is true, the fact that she would do that, outside of the presence of his father would suggest that there would be some spite towards the father, because I don't know any black men who as much as they are disappointed with their sons, I don't know many black men who would do this. So, I mean, if a woman is doing this, and that child has a father who cares about him, actively involved, then yeah, she's got to also have some spite towards his father, and that's got to be a part of why she's doing what she's doing,
Just
as
like
to
Boy in the
not
Hood.
just punish him, but to punish his father for
Yes.
failure or disappointment with him or whatever. Yeah,
Yes.
I think that would definitely be a part.
Yeah, just like Boys in the Hood, right? Like Ricky, she liked, but Doughboy she hated, and you know what I mean, because she said you look just like your father. You ain't shit, right? She kept saying that, and I think if this, I think a lot of times, a lot of mistreatment that comes from black boys, from black mothers, is because the black mothers, every time they see that son, they see him, and they just lose it. Hello, hello, anyone here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. We agree. We agree. And again, to me, the more interesting. I mean, again, whether this is real or contrivance, the
Yeah,
fact that so many people seem to kind of revel and enjoy the obliteration of somebody who may be a child still,
yeah,
regardless of whether or not it's real. The fact that so many people seem to enjoy it and
yeah,
want it and are rooting for it, man, it
yeah.
really highlights how many people really hate black men.
Right.
And I'm assuming especially young black men. I mean, even this term that Roger you've outlawed, I'll use it just for effect, uh, for the purposes of this discussion, if you don't mind, the YN term. That that's a term you create specifically for a group of people you revile,
Yeah,
and you don't have that equivalent to any other demographic of
yeah.
people. It's like, because you're not just signing a label, you're signing an attitude and a belief system
A stigma.
and an emotional, yes, stigma. Thank you, that word perfectly encapsulate what I was attempting to describe. You're ascribing a stigma to people just by virtue of the coincidence of their demographical origins, and that's unique to black men. That's
Yeah,
unique to black men. So then when you take that and then you put into it, so you take that and then you think about how people are kind of celebrating this. Well, yeah, we're celebrating the latest destruction of a YN. That's what this is here.
yeah, yep. Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
And you know what's diabolical
Yeah,
about it? They made it so wholesome that white people could use it too.
sure, sure. In fact, I it would not at all surprise me if this has been stitched into something or extended into something and is being celebrated in some white or non-black, because you got growing numbers of non black people who seem to want to revel in the destruction of black men too these
Yeah,
days. So yeah, yeah,
diabolical.
And I'm gonna say, when people make these videos, because again, y'all, I'm not convinced that this is a real video. I understand it could be. I try to think about it. I'm a younger person growing up with this social media world, or possibly I'm dumb enough to record all this stuff that I'm doing. And I'm saying dumb enough because I think a smart kid would not be recording everything they doing. How do you get away with stuff and you recording everything? I mean, at
Well,
the end of the day, we all gonna pull something.
well, I mean, I can kind of understand the sentiment because back in the '90s when I was a kid, we had those scare straight programs where they put you in jail for a little bit to scare you straight, but you don't actually get locked up. You spend a couple hours there. Like even my grandfather, he was a police officer. He did that to my father. He put him in jail for a couple hours just to let him know, like, hey, I'm not the one to be fucked with. But there's no paperwork, no nothing, right? Just sat there for a couple hours, let him know what the business is, and then let him out. He went and go play somewhere. That I understand, but like what I mean. That back in the day, they had programs like that, Scared Straight. But actual having paperwork and being like sentencing, I mean, you just ruined his life. How can he get a job? How can he go get a trade from a school, something like that? Scholarships for a trade. You put we already behind the eight ball. Now he's a felon. On top of that, before graduating high school.
Well, you got to care about the kid to think about that, to think that far ahead into it. Now I already say that a lot of sisters ain't gonna think about stuff, more than 4 minutes ahead anyway. And what does his graduating high school mean to her? That's not her accomplishment. So she don't care.
Well, I mean, that nigga gonna be taking care of her at her old age. She needs
Well,
to care.
she thinks that's gonna happen no matter what. I mean, it's not like black women don't feel entitled to service of their black sons. They feel entitled to service of men they don't know. If we get real about it.
That shit makes no sense. I mean, this dude's gonna probably take care of you, and you're already limiting his earning potential by having a criminal record.
Very true thing. But in her mind, I ain't got to care about that.
She should.
And even just how aloof and indifferent. Because to me, this would be much more believable if you got a woman crying her eyes out, and begging and saying, son, I want you, I really wish you would do better. And I did everything I could. And oh, Lord. And I pray, that would make more sense to me. Maybe a woman who really feel like she had just totally spiritually burnt herself trying to save a child. Now, it still is no excuse for railroading the boy legally. Still no excuse for that. But at least it would make some sense. It would make some sense emotional. Where I've been overwrought by you. I've been just torn apart trying to get you to do right, and you've created all this chaos for me, and now I got to do this, and I'm so upset. I gotta do this to you. None of that is happening there with this woman, and I think even part of the celebration that other people have is the indifference of the presentation of this, because again, it's almost like we get to enjoy and the fact that he at some point is supposedly crying makes it even better, because while she is quite indifferently destroying her child, he's begging and pleading with her. That makes it even more enjoyable for somebody who hates black men and boys. It's quite an enjoyable, almost a masturbatory experience for people who hate black men and boys. What we're seeing here.
Yeah, it ain't no telling how they celebrating this at home right now. No telling. But we got Tunnel Runner who's come up, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Tunnel Runner get the mic. Tunnel Runner, go ahead, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Roger, we have had some mothers call the police on their sons, and they have ended up dead. They'll correct their son, say he's out of control, and police come, and the situation gets out of control, and the boy ends up dead. When anyone calls the police on you, I don't care if it's your wife, I don't care if your children, you should take those people as your enemy. Because as a black man, you know that you could end up dead interacting with the cops in the wrong way, especially if you're upset and they're going to call the police on you. You have to. And that's why I always say you have to protect yourself, because when these people call the police on you, that could be a life and death situation.
Well, the thing is, that is true. Guy's young as hell, he probably not gonna know that though. Unfortunate, but you know, it's interesting that you got over 17,000 people who took time out to make a comment, and it's clear that most of the comments are completely for him going to jail. Because see, y'all got to think about it. Videos happen. People see videos. Okay, a very small percentage of the people who saw a video actually make a comment. So a lot more people saw this, and over 17,000 took out time to say, "Hey, we hope this nigga go to jail. We in love with the idea of this nigga going to jail. This nigga
Doctor
going to jail is fantastic."
Dr. T said this calls this blue leashing to control a black man. They call it blue
What?
leashing. You call the police to get him under control.
I mean, I believe that can happen some of the time. I don't necessarily believe this is her trying to control a man. I think this is just a woman who don't want to raise her son, a woman who just don't care about her son, and she think this son gonna owe her no matter what. Because this ain't no relationship. This is a mother son thing. Okay, it's a mother son thing. Why would anyone's mom call the police on their son? You don't like that dude. It's that simple. She's and I'm gonna say it probably the fact that he's getting close to 18. I'm not gonna get paid anymore because it's very possible she getting a check for this son. But now that he 18, maybe that check about to go away. Well, this nigga can get out of my house then. If ain't no check attached to him, why are you here? You know, to me that's
Sad but true.
you know.
Could be, could
Okay, but
be.
do you know how? Think about how evil though that would be. Just again, assuming that's true. So then that would have meant you waited until the system could throw the book at him to then get the system to throw the book at him by calling the police. So I mean, that would be evil. It'd be like, I mean, that would be. You hear what I'm saying? You wait till you get to the point in which the law can do anything they wanted to do to them, and then you call the cops on them, and then let the law do anything they want to do to them. Look, I hope that's not what happened. Like I said, I hope this isn't even real. But if it is, and that is what she's done. I mean, wow, that just
Man,
that is that would be really evil, really evil. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even saying she put that much thought into it. It's just a simple situation where I'm getting a check. He ain't going to college, so I'm not gonna get a check when he goes off to school. So the check finna come to an end because 18, no college, child support comes to an end. What I need this nigga around for?
I mean, the sad part about it is, as much as I do not and would not want to believe that, if I believe this is authentic, then I have to also include that as a possibility. I would have to include that as a possibility if I believe that what I'm seeing here is real.
Yeah. And I don't
Sad.
believe this is a real case of it. I do believe it's a real thing that happens. I don't personally believe this one is necessarily a real case of it. This do seem fake to me, but I'm leaving room for it to be real because we're in a different world now, and these young people don't grow up doing stuff that I understand is completely stupid, but they just don't see it that way. And she look, just based on her age, she looks young to be a mother of somebody who's a teenager about to go off to college or something like that, or at that age. She look a little young, but she black though. We got to consider that. Black folks know they can look young, so it don't mean she ain't old enough. But
No,
to me, it's
I
just
mean, come on, she could have had him at, 14, 15. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, even that kind of thing, she might actually only be, you know, early
right.
30s. The way sometimes those kinds of things work. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a very real thing. But we got a couple other guests here, so let me get a Bailey Starks in. www.baileyStarks.enterprise is in, and after him, we're gonna get in the Great Black Reset. He about to come up. Go ahead, my
Hey,
brother.
Raj, thanks for having me up, man. Long live the Victor Line Steppers. Yeah, yeah. I was going to try to hit on that point as far as look at the meal that was in front of it. I mean, they didn't show no parts of his meal, and she looked like she was celebrating because she had just a stoic delivery as far as what was going on, and looked like she was celebrating the end of a bill that she was finally going to get rid of. And she probably warned them, but they, how black women are. They just kind of say stuff to kind of poke and prod at you, but not really hitting on the urgency or the importance of the point they're trying to make. They just speak in generalities a lot of times. And yeah, I agree with y'all. I mean, she looks about 30ish. And like we all kind of know statistically, might have had them when she was like 16, maybe her last year of high school. I mean, allegedly, if this is a real thing, I would kind of say that is kind of sad too, because a lot of the ladies in that age range these days, they do treat these kids like a bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm getting rid of a bill. She's protecting the girl, and we got to hear the other story, other side. We got to hear Ashley's side. I mean, what led to the alleged bullying? Ashley had to do something. Some environment has been created for even bullying to even take place. Allegedly, if the bullying is actually real, but if not, it should never happen. She shouldn't still send him to jail. I mean, I know growing up in Project Chicago, parents that have murderous sons that never have sent their kids to jail or never feared for their life. They know their son's gonna protect them. And that's another thing we have in society too. Trying to keep the boys around to be the surrogate husbands in a sense. And I land a plane. Yeah, got some more to tell, but I know my time is up.
All right, and we're gonna get Great Black Reset in here now. Reset, you got it, my brother.
Hey, what's happening, fellas? Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Loud and clear.
Almost too loud and clear.
Yeah.
Hey now already.
Yeah, we'll let you know when you need to talk a little lower. Yeah.
You know what? Well, these boys are built to these women. If they're ever honest about it, they are built. And to most black women. Now, I'm gonna say this too first. I don't believe that this is. I believe this is a skit. I don't believe this is real, but that doesn't mean that the point isn't worth talking about. For most black women, especially single parents, which she didn't necessarily display herself as one. These children are a commodity, and as long as they are getting something, child support, alimony, or something like that, the kids are useful. But once they start aging out and the cost becomes greater than the input, they're looking to offload. And this is a situation where she's looking to offload. The child is no longer viable financially, and she's looking to offload. That's all this is. This is very common. The second point I want to make is about prison. Having been a former corrections officer, whether it's the juvenile detention center, whether it's the county jail, or whether it's the state prison, 66% of those guys are involved in homosexual activity. You're sending your child to a camp for homosexuality when you're doing that, and they don't care. They just don't care. Most women don't even understand because of the nature of who they are. They don't understand the danger that any man is in when you're in an incarcerated environment. They don't. That's why they're so quick to put the police on you and all this other kind of stuff. They have no concept of how dangerous it is for any of us to be incarcerated, even for a day. It's very, very dangerous, and it's sad. So I'm gonna land my plane there, and so that Uber don't get on me.
Now, do you really think they don't know, or they don't care? Because look, none of what happens uh, to men and boys, none of it is any secret. Here in Chicago, in Cook County, right now, there's a class action lawsuit going on where they're essentially suing all of like the county, maybe the state, but certainly Cook County, include Chicago, um, juvenile um, systems for abuse, particularly sexual abuse. You know, it
Yep. Yep.
and it goes back quite a while. Well, I mean, it goes back decades, even generations. And I remember because I grew up in Chicago. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. Born in the early '60s, grew up in Chicago. Latter part of the '60s, '70s. Became an adult basically in the early '80s, or late '70s, I guess. Um, and I knew men or guys I knew who had been in the Audi home. That was one of the places that famously referred to near on the west side of Chicago. And they described being abused, and in particular, when we were kids, they
Mhm.
described being abused in these systems and being sexually abused in the system. And
Mhm.
it was interesting. You know how you develop a kind of gallows humor about the terrible things happening to them, and they would refer to getting their stuff pushed in, or
Yep.
getting pumped in the duff. These were we were kids, and it was like 16, 17-year-old dudes describing this happening to them. So none of this stuff. I mean, and this wasn't prison. This I mean, God,
Your
this
juvenile
wasn't
detention
prison.
centers.
This was just reform school, or
Mhm.
the
Right.
Army system, or the juvenile system. So
Mhm.
everybody knew this stuff was happening. This is not a secret to anybody. No, it's not a secret when you send your son to jail or to prison. What's going to happen to him? That's not a secret, especially not amongst black people and black families. That's not a
Hmm.
secret.
Well, what I'm describing is willful ignorance, right? So women, when they go to prison, they are sexually assaulted by other women, but it's a different nature. They're also sexually assaulted by staff, right? But even though it's a horrendous thing to do, in when we're talking about being mammals, it's natural for a man to lay with a woman, right? They don't understand
Hmm.
because when it's woman to woman, there's no real penetration there, right? The willful
Hmm.
ignorance is what's the big deal to them. That's how they look at it. What's the big deal? They don't understand the big deal of a man taking another man's manhood in that way, and they don't want to know. It's willful
Hmm.
ignorance. So when I say they don't know, it's willful ignorance. They treat their own children like, what's the big deal?
So, truth be told, I
Hmm.
think a lot
Yeah,
of them
I
know
mean,
this.
when you think about it, this is an environment in which women very often are very physically abusive to these children, and usually even much earlier or much more before things get to the point in which they're in a reform school situation. So yeah, if they themselves have been brutalizing children their whole lives, then that would just be a part of the continuum of the
Yes.
brutalization.
And,
So yeah, I guess if you look at it
and
from that perspective, it yeah.
And it's
they
taking the
become
heat off.
desensitized.
It take the heat off them.
Yeah.
If that dude always talking about how somebody took his manhood, he ain't gonna bring up what I did to him when he was a kid. Take the heat off of him. You know, all his problems comes because he went to prison at one time. That's where all his problems come from. And we don't never look at stuff that happened before he went to prison. Yeah, it takes the heat off it because that's what happens with people in society
You
when
know,
you think about it.
Roger, you allude to something else, and I was going back and forth with this psychologist or whatever on TikTok, right, or social media, I guess, and she was talking about the so-called men abusing women. You know, this is the whole IPV, and I said to her, you know, I think your profession, you guys are the whole profession, particularly on the issue of IPV. You all are grossly negligent and disingenuous because you all never speak about the mothers abusing their children, including and especially their sons. And you know as a profession that most of the people most of the adults who are abusers were people who were abused. And all the available social science says the vast majority of the abuser of children are women. But yet you conveniently, we got to save all the women. We got to save all the women from IPV. But you never talk about how how so-called the people who so-called victimize them were themselves victimized, and to a large extent they were victimized by the very women who were victimizing children.
And yet that's a lot of heat right there. So now you have me wonder, how did she respond? Because I'm pretty sure that she wanted to table that discussion. That's not important right now.
She and I also said that you never focus. You talk about the issue. You all are social scientists. You talk about this issue, but you never present the statistics. And one of the reasons why you never present the statistics is that it it presenting those statistics would show the lies that are being told about black men and the cover up of what the black women are doing. That's why you don't show the statistics. That's why you don't do the source reporting of of the issue, because if you do that, you'll see there aren't big discrepancies between male IPV and female IPV. And then you get into, well, who starts the IPV? And all the available social science says the women are more likely to initiate the IPV. So the women are more likely to initiate the IPV with men, and they're much more likely to abuse children. But yet everything's framed around how abusive men are.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to people like us to get this stuff out there because I'm definitely gonna be doing a show on that very soon as well. And when it comes down to it, a lot of I hate to say it like this, but it's a real thing. If you remove black women, a lot of black men ain't got no real problem. And when I say problems, y'all, I'm saying something that money won't just solve. I ain't talking about you late on your gas bill or something like that. You go to work, you better get that taken care of. But the problems that you can't necessarily solve with money, we don't really have those problems once you remove black women. You know, and you can say that in any capacity. Real talk, okay? And that's not me trying to be, against black women. I'm just saying what the truth is. What problems do we got that don't include them? When you talk about things from a general standpoint. They create a lot of bad situations for us, and we don't focus on the bad they do, which is why we continue to have bad situations. Because even if this was a real skit, if you got to call the police on your own son and get a warrant, how is this not your fault? You're the one raising him. His response to society has a lot to do with what you actually dictated at home. And the people just praising her for it. She's literally saying, I've raised my son in a way that he's being abusive toward a girl. Now I'm not saying everybody didn't catch that, because to me, that's a big thing to say a black man is abusing a girl. You're bullying a girl and we can't stop you. Now, that sounds odd, but what are people saying? Okay, well, yeah, he's abusing a female, so we got to throw this nigga under the jail. How is this not your fault as a woman? Where does he get comfortable abusing females? Because let's keep it real, y'all. Amongst black men, that's something black men don't play with. You don't get to abuse women around men. Even the kids, they'll be at you. If any guy who's caught hitting a girl is gonna have males attack. That's how it is amongst black people. I ain't saying it's right. I ain't even saying I even agree with it, but it's definitely a reality. When a male is attacking a female, and it's only attacking because we don't register a man defending himself. You do not hear people saying a man had to defend himself. Even when a guy hits back, it's described as he's attacking her. So now you raise the boy who's bullying some female, and he got to answer to you. How's this not your fault? But again, you don't have to worry about that, because y'all saw how society came through on the how society came through on the post saying, yeah, this is not an issue about her at all. She's doing the right thing. Get that nigga. Yeah, if he served a little time, now he'll start to understand. And one of the worst kind, it's way more mothers who should do this. Now, we live in a society where women really don't have to deal with any kind of accountability at all. Somebody's always there to protect them. They're going to protect themselves as much as they can, and then men are going to protect them as much as they can. And that's why, I don't understand why people, if you truly want women to change, you're going to have to hold them accountable at some point. And my thing is, we're talking about a woman with a child that is possibly still a minor. Now, he might be 18, which might be the very reason it's cool to kick this nigga out, because ain't nobody getting a check behind it no more. But if you want a better society, how we can't call a mother a bad mother and she can't even keep her own son out of prison? And again, I'm giving a pass for anybody who has a child that's a serial convict, and I'm saying where you are raping and killing people, like you're a serial killer. Okay, I'm not gonna put that on parents. There's sometimes you got a person with a mental defect, but if we're not talking about something like that, when is she a bad mother? Because in this, you have a woman who has called the cops on her own
even
son.
in that case, that's why I said earlier, a whole lot of other stuff was supposed to happen before you get anywhere near. A whole, psychologist, psychiatrist, mental health, medication. A lot of stuff was supposed to happen before you just see this. And it's like it sounds like a bullying thing. So like, even how severe even is what this issue is. It's really just confusing. And again, which just all the more makes me kind of question the authenticity of it, because it just doesn't make sense in a lot of different ways. But again, the fact that people are celebrating, but when you have, I'm going to continue to reemphasize this point. When a black male, and in particular a young black male, is perceived to be the villain in the story, all bets are off as to how he should be treated. We don't have to be worrying about protecting him and getting him good legal counseling and good, psychological or psychiatric assistance or whatever treatment. We don't have to concern him. He's wrong. He's evil. He's a black boy. He's a quote YN Roger end quote. And so we're licensed to anything to do anything we choose to do to him. That's the messaging here.
And that's definitely, I definitely agree with that. And that's one of the reasons that I banned the YN term from this channel. And I hope people will be
Hmm.
smart enough to
Yeah,
ban it from their
yeah,
own real lives, because I
yeah. And
totally get it.
you do appreciate. I'm using it to emphasize the
Oh,
point here because I
absolutely.
totally agree with you in general. And I'm just using it for to drive home the point of just the fact that that word even exists sort of supports the point we're making here.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you definitely my elder, so I don't question when you do something that I ain't saying everybody else can do that.
Mhm.
I'm saying Black Guru can
Mhm.
get away with certain
Well,
things like that.
it's very weird because I see this term and it's used as a term of derision. It's used as a petting name. The thought cougar group will use it as a kind of pickup sort of thing. It's a weird kind of uh, it's an objectification. It's a weird kind of objectification that is being used in a lot of different ways to communicate a lot of different things. But the ultimate thing it communicates is the disposability of young black men. That's the ultimate thing it communicates.
And I think that's the goal of that communication, which is why I had a problem with it from day one,
Hmm.
and I'm always have a problem because I really
Yeah.
believe that is the actual goal. But we got two more guests that
Hmm.
came through, so I'm gonna give the mic to Bronx, and then we're gonna give it to Shark Sims, who's also in the building. Bronx, you got it, my brother.
Man, we can skip right to shark sales, man. Why you doing that?
Here we go.
Let that boy say something, man. Let that boy say something. He young, he's still learning, but let him say something.
Man, you know what? I decided when I saw Black Reset up here, man, I said, you know what? Kind of contemplate coming up here, but I said I'm doing it anyway.
In spite of him. In spite of him.
Right.
I'm just tone reset out for the sake of the panel, so that we can have a good show today. So
You just doing what most people do.
Yeah.
You just doing what most people do.
what up, Roger?
And two Roger.
Man, but when I watched this video, man, I immediately went to the comments because that was what I really wanted to see, was people's response to what she did. And that is the very thing that just really saddened me about this situation. The comment section of that video was just flooded with support for how she went about handling her child. And something that really hurts my heart, man, is the fact that this is a black mother, man. This is a black mother. This is something that Mamie Till Mobley would have never done. This is something that many black mothers who had to deal with the hand of law enforcement or just racism in America would not have done. I mean, we're in an environment where you have Tamir Rice playing in a playground and he gets pulled up on by officers after they call the police on him saying that he's pointing a gun in the park and he's dead in less than 10 seconds. You got Michael Brown coming back from a gas station getting into an altercation with the cashier. You have Trayvon Martin walking home from grabbing an iced tea and some Skittles. You have enough examples of young black boys essentially being mowed down in the middle of the street or just brutally beaten for nothing other than their skin color. And you know this as a black woman. And yet you are still quick to pick up the phone and call the police on your black son rather than having a serious conversation with his father about his behavior. That says a lot, man. That says a lot. And it really shows that young black boys don't even really have protection overwhelmingly from their own mothers. Your own mom, the person who carried you for 9 months. This person will call your executioner if you don't act the way she wants you to act. You know, I'm going to land my plane right there for now, but I have a lot more to say on this subject, man.
All right. Shark, you got it, my brother.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
And we all right. We all right. My
So,
mama ain't called the police on me today.
so your mama says we going to Red Lobster, right? You get the Red Lobsters. You order your food, and you pull your camera out to videotape everything, and then and then coincidentally, your mama starts talking about you beating Ashley ass, and she gonna send you to jail. This is the fakest shit I ever seen in my life. Black women are using the internet to parent their children that they said they didn't need a man to raise. That's all this is. I don't understand how this could have been. I don't even understand how these things pop off like to the point where you know to pull your camera out to start filming. I live in New York City. You know how much crazy shit I didn't see, and I ain't have a chance to pull my camera out. So now, if it isn't fake, I don't even know. Roger, she bad as hell, though. I wish she would have bought me a steak, because I would have been right there eating that goddamn shit with some A1 steak sauce, some hollandaise, whatever that, the hollandaise sauce and all that good, all that up on there. But at the end of the day, like, he beating on the shorty. They tried to tell him to chill out, and he still ain't chilling out. Now, my problem is, where's the father that she so-called said was trying to tell him to chill out?
No. You know what? I went back and looked at it. She said, your dad. She said she called his dad.
Where he at?
We supposed to assume he at work or something, I guess. Because she put the ring on to indicate she's either engaged or married. She put it on the right finger in this production. So we supposed to assume that he at work, I guess.
So if she told his father what he was doing and all this, he should be going to jail with a black eye and some bruised ribs before the cops even got there.
Well, I think we pretty much all agree that this is probably fake, But as I said earlier, the comments are not fake. These are real people leaving real comments.
And that's what I always tell people. All this stuff on the internet could be fake as hell. You got to read them comments, because those is real people. That's where the realness is in the comments.
Yeah. I didn't see one supporting the boy.
Well, what that also tells you, the comments tells you the real purpose of the. I mean, I think there were like close to 400,000 likes. There were over 17,000 comments. Again, I obviously could not in the time or would not be motivated to read all the comments, but certainly I went through maybe 100 or so. I don't know if I saw any that appeared to question or critique what the mother was doing. Everything seemed to be 100% support and glorification and applause. So the comments tell you what the real purpose of this was, not what the mother allegedly mythically did or whatever, but the real purpose of this was, man, let's enjoy hating some YN. That was the real purpose of this. Let us all gather together and hate on and vilify and excoriate this young black boy.
And you want to know what? I look at the YNs like Frankenstein. They made Frankenstein all by themselves, because remember, Frankenstein wasn't birthed. He was made out of different parts and all that. They made Frankenstein, and now Frankenstein is running rampant through the motherfucking English town and doing whatever it want to do, and they can't stop it.
Well, see,
yeah, but even the argument for that, though, because I think we really got to be careful about that, because I think there are far fewer quote because now we're getting to the point. I don't know if we're overusing the term, and maybe we shouldn't. Roger, I was trying to emphasize the point, but I don't want to
I got what you was doing.
repopularize the reference.
Yeah.
I just my
I'm gonna
point.
say, I'm gonna
My
remind people,
point is,
everybody else ain't Black Guru. Okay.
yeah,
But do
and
that.
again, I mean, because see, Shark took it back in that direction, and so that's because the point I'm trying to make is I think the YN is largely a fabrication.
It is.
I think it's just the latest, let's hate on this nigga. So no, when I say well, let me be clear about what I mean by fabrication. I don't think there are nearly as many young men who you could fairly argue typify what that phrase allegedly mean. I don't think there's nearly as many of them as the society, including especially black women, want to advertise such. So I don't want to. I think we should avoid helping to create our own negative PR. Shark. I think black men got to become a little bit more sophisticated about that kind of thing.
No, and that's why I
And if you're
said
going to
Franken.
criticize,
That's why I called him Frankenstein. If
well,
you
but
see any of
I
the
mean, now
Frankenstein
if you're
movies,
saying
he was a
Frankenstein from the
sophisticated
standpoint of a
person.
myth,
Yeah, he was sophisticated. He was reading and he knew literature and all that, but he had a problem with his maker. He was
yeah,
wilding and all that, and they
but
didn't. They just
the point I'm
yes, sir.
making is there is no Frankenstein, and they're probably for the hundred quote YN society will want you to think exists. There are probably only 5 or at the most 10.
Yep.
And so I think that that's the real truth of this thing that we need to communicate.
Well,
We can't be a part of creating our own negative propaganda.
well, that part I
Yeah.
disagree with. You tell that young boy, young Pierre, that got shot at the park 2 weeks ago. It was being slapped up and got shot in the chest. You tell that young boy that got shot in the Bronx in the bodega. You tell it is an epidemic.
Now,
Black
honestly,
men.
bro,
I mean,
I'm gonna say, Rick,
there are tens of millions of black boys in this country right now, or at least there aren't quite that many, but okay, there are certainly millions of black boys in this country. So when we say epidemic and we use this YN term or whatever, it's like 10 guys do some shit somewhere in New York or Chicago, and then all the black boys or black males under age 25 is a YN. Man, we can't do that. We can't do that.
yeah, the
That don't
same
help
way
us.
the same way you're mentioning something happened to some black boy, the same thing happened to some white boy. And it's not as many of us doing those type of things as there are of them. So the whole point of using the term YN is to get us to think it's a bigger problem than what it actually is, and to
Well,
automatically assume the negative. You automatically put negative thoughts on a person that you do not know. At the end of the day, when you look at how white people act in comparison to black people, the reason you have a term YN is so you can think of things differently than how they actually are.
Yeah.
That's
Roger,
literally the purpose of it.
that's like saying we want black women to stop wearing wigs to a black woman, and she said, "Well, white women wear wigs too."
No, it's not the same because most black women will wear some form of wig, weave, or whatever it is that they put in hair extension. They
and
actually do
and
that
and
in
and
the majority.
and black women are not being hunted and killed for that. See, you got to think in terms of proportion. Some labeling leads to certain consequences. Certain other labeling leads to very different consequences. Now,
Yeah,
complaining
but
about whether a woman is wearing a weave or a wig is different from whether or not I get to label somebody something, so then somebody can presume he's a villain and treat him as such.
Can,
but
Those
can
are
I say
Guru,
different things.
real quick?
nobody's hunting them but themselves.
Hold on, can I say? I want to say something really quickly.
They hunting themselves. And you remember y'all said this y'all the niggas that said nigga is a term of endearment and we taking it back and it means da da da. And
Which
now all of a
means
sudden
nobody else can
it's a
use it.
slang.
I want to, if I could say something when Shark's done.
And now all of a sudden it's a bad word to use. And y'all the ones we've sat on this joint and argue with y'all for hours. Like stop using the word.
No.
Stop using the word.
Shark.
Stop using the word. And y'all was
No
like,
false.
oh no, it's
No
powerful.
false narratives. The whole point was that nobody else can use that term. For you to support a term like YN, you're literally giving permission for other people to call them
Roger,
niggas.
if you call yourself a monster, if you call yourself a monster, the world's going to look at you as a monster.
I want to say something if I could.
And you become a
go ahead. I'll say
monster.
what you're done. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead. Please continue.
You become the monster. If you keep calling yourself a savage, the world's going to look at you as a savage.
Dr.
Just
King,
because you don't know what the word
never
savage
called
means
himself
doesn't mean the world don't know what savage means.
Dr. King never called himself a monster. Medgar Evers never called himself a monster. Malcolm X never called himself a monster, and they killed them all the same.
And look at how they're looked at to this day. They're revered. People
And they
walk around
still
with
killed
Malcolm
them.
X shirts
And they
on.
still killed. And they still vilified them and killed them.
It don't matter. We talking about a whole different time.
Well, no. Hold fast. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let this Ivy League brother get in. No, the thing is, they're revered by who? Because the people. No. The people that didn't like them still don't like them.
Yep.
Everybody.
Dr. King did not change his image to anyone white.
Them crackers respect all of them niggas. They might not like them,
No,
but
they do not.
them.
No, they do not, Shark. They don't.
Does B. Simone revere
It's easy to respect it. It's easy to respect Indians when you slaughtered all of them.
Look, man.
Y'all
No. Hold on. Let him go. Let hot sauce go. Let hot sauce go.
My bad, hot sauce.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. But later on, I just hope you understand why later on, I crash out because I try to line up.
Okay, you earned one crash out credit. You earned one crash out credit.
Because when I was a kid, right, the teacher say, line up in single file. I'll be like, hey guys, I'll go after him. Hey guys, I'll go after that. And see, this is the thing, man. Like black people be taking courtesy as a weakness, and that's when the bear got to come out. But anyway, that's just a side note. The point is this, Shark, and I'm with you. I'm with you, brother, on 99%. But at the end of the day, when we accept labels like YN, it gives a stigma, right? It gives a stigma, and it has negative consequences when we're looking for work. It has negative consequences when we're looking for homes and things like that. And that can even gives police permission to eliminate you because they look at you less than human. And the last thing you want is a European to look at you less than human, especially those people because of the track record they have historically. So, but I'm also with Shark says when we use the N-word. I'm a hypocrite because I say that word way too much. But at the end of the day, that also has a stigma to it as well, just as much as YN. Even though we want to say, well, it's only for us and stuff like that. But fine, even if it's only for you, if I'm an outsider, I'm gonna they don't respect you because they're human beings. They're using this historically slave word as a term of endearment. That also allows me to think that you're not human beings. So I can treat you any kind of way. And I'll rest it there.
All right, now I'm gonna stick reality back into the scenario. Your enemy don't care how you regard yourself. They don't. That's reality. And at the end of the day, if you allow your enemy to do something that's against you, they just take it that you gave them permission. And that's it.
You need to read The Art of War. You need to strategize because at the end of the day, the first way you subjugate people is you ruin their image. That is rule number one. You cannot subjugate a group of people.
Exactly.
What you saying has nothing that does not disagree with what I said.
No, absolutely.
No, it does. Because
no,
you are your enemy.
Hold on, no.
Calling yourself an enemy.
I just said no. Listen to what I actually said. I said your enemy doesn't regard how you feel about yourself. Your response to that is what your enemy is trying to get you to do. You are not even talking about the same thing.
Listen.
Your
If your
enemy is not telling
enemy,
you to degradate yourself.
if
You
the
doing
enemy,
that.
if your enemy, if you're degrading yourself, right? It's giving your enemy space to now show the world that you're less than a human being. The first way you subjugate a people, this is rule number one, is you show the world that they're less than human beings. And that way the world doesn't go up in arms because we're not living in Jim Crow anymore. We live in a global society. You can't do this shit.
You know, a lot of black culture includes a degree. A lot of black culture is a kind of a gallows humor. It's a humor that you develop in response to terrible things that have happened. It's a very common phenomenon of human beings. It's not unique to black people. It's a kind of survival mechanism. It's sort of a psychological and even spiritual survival method where you learn to subside to some degree on the very bad thing that happened to you because it's the only you turn that into fuel. You subside on the resources. Someone mentioned the art of war. Sun Tzu said you should learn to subside on the resources of your enemy, which means you must be able to take something that they have, particularly when you're outnumbered and out-resourced. So you must be able to take something from that enemy and somehow be fueled by it. And I think to some degree, the N-word sort of became that. It became a thing that we turned into a fuel. It was being put to us, so we transmuted it to some degree into something else. Now, I think there is a real, maybe we have reached a point in history or whatever where there should be a referendum on the use of the N-word, even amongst black people. Shark, I think that's a valid. I think that's a valid debate, but let's not derail this conversation on that particular issue right now. But I do think it is a valid issue to debate. I'll concede that point.
And I'm gonna say, yeah, because I was just gonna say, it ain't, number one, it ain't the subject of today's show. And what you quoting stuff out the art of war, what y'all leave out is the fact you're already at war. They didn't need you to do that for you to be at war. Your enemy has no regard of what you think of yourself. You're talking about tactics they use to get other people to think something of you. They have no regard of how you think of yourself.
Well, and what's always tough historically is, I mean, this is a country that hung black men in their military uniforms and their medals, hung them in suits and wearing hats. So, you know, when you think about what they've done I'm just saying, let me finish. I'm just saying America has never been at a deficit for doing terrible things to black people, regardless of how they presented themselves. So, I mean, that's a real part of it. So, you know, no matter how positively, you know, we saw our pictures of Emmett Till, we see Emmett Till in a hat and tie. Most of the pictures we see, this guy was like 13, 14 years old. So I mean, it was never just about imagery.
I think the thing we're missing here is, number one, you have to show people less than in order to promote them and encourage them to do that, and you also have to show people that they're less than human beings in order to stay silent and not speak up.
But that is the training.
That absolutely matters.
No. Look, brother, I'm not arguing what you're saying, but that is not about your enemy. That's your enemy trying to convince others.
No. That's the group that it is your enemy's group, because not all white people are cool with that shit.
if
black people had a different,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're using a tactic to convince somebody who's not an enemy to become one, which means your enemy has no regard. No. You're trying to conflate things to win a point.
I am not. I am absolutely not.
Okay, but listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
I hear you're the one not listening to me because I hear you.
What am I saying then? What am I saying?
You're saying that your enemy doesn't need a clean image to do the things that.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yes,
I'm saying your enemy has no regard for how you present yourself.
Yes, it does.
Your enemy has no regard of how you present yourself.
They don't.
You're arguing something totally different that doesn't. You're wasting time.
These are people who hung and lynched.
And both of you are talking over people to not even hear what we fully saying because you guys just want to be right.
No. It's not. No, it's not. The thing is, y'all are trying to take the show in a direction. It's not even with a point that ain't even necessary. Because you're arguing something that don't matter, because at the end of the day, your enemy has no regard of how you present yourself.
If it doesn't matter, then why are both of you guys cutting us off then? If it doesn't
I'm
matter?
saying you're wasting time for us to discuss the actual subject of the show.
And the subject
your enemy does not care how you present yourself.
The subject of the show is how many people are in the comments going crazy on this young brother.
Exactly. So he's responding to you guys.
And y'all don't understand that you're not looked at as a young brother when you don't call yourself a young brother.
No, I do understand.
Okay. All right. Look, hold on. Let's just stop this particular debate. Because did I not concede the point that I agree at some point there should be a referendum on the issue of the N-word. Did I not say that, Shark?
You're not listening.
Did I not say that?
You're not listening.
You did say
no,
that.
I'm saying you have a valid point, but I'm just saying let's not make that that's not what we're talking about today, brothers.
No, but Uru, that doesn't matter in the comments of that video clip we watched.
When me and Shark are saying that the reason why those comments exist. The reason we're speaking directly to the comments. The reason why they exist is because how we present ourselves on an image basis. The reason why black women are so cool with saying lock them up is because how we present each other on an image basis. We're speaking directly to the comments.
Okay. Now that you said that, and I'm clarifying, you're absolutely wrong. Okay. I'm saying I'm saying you're absolutely. I hear you. I understand what you're saying, and I'm still saying you're absolutely wrong. The reason those comments exist the way that they do, because number one, they have no regard of how you present yourself, and when it comes down to it, black men have never in this country been allowed to present their own image for any real length of time. Everything that people
most black men are gainfully employed. They're more educated than they've ever been in the history. They work longer hours as a demographic. Hold on now.
Yeah, wow.
As a demographic, the employed black male works more hours than any other group of Americans, period. So there's a reality. There's a reality of black males, and then there is messaging they want to communicate about black men. But those are not the same thing. And whether we call ourselves the N-word or not, I mean, we got 400 years, brothers, of other people, especially white people, specifically wanting to degrade black people to use them to their advantage. And they've done it in innumerable ways, in innumerable laws, in innumerable court decisions, separate versus you. I mean, that's all this country has done. So to think we're going to cure, we're gonna reverse history because of whether or not we refer to ourselves as nigger or nigga or YN, that we're going to somehow, if we stop using the word, that's going to somehow reverse the last 400 years. I mean, I'm really kind of confused as to what reality we're talking about here.
Uru, I agree with you to a certain extent, but you want to know where the illest part of it is that you're not getting? They use it in their living room. You use it on TV. You use it outside. You use it on the radio. You use it everywhere you go. You are casting a spell on yourself. You are putting a misnomer on yourself everywhere you go.
I said earlier, there should be a referendum on the use of that word. That's why I said that. That's why I said that. I was
in the way that God.
I was conceding.
Hold on. And the way that man was able to put people in ovens was he made everybody look at them like they weren't shit.
Yep.
And we're doing the work for them now.
I was.
Y'all niggas is giving racism and all that shit too much motherfucking power right now.
What more can I say? I said there should be a discussion.
Did you see that article about the SPLOC?
Hold fast.
These niggas is literally making these niggas is literally fabricating this monster y'all think is running around right now.
Hold on. Now I literally done said the reason I even came to social media was because of Hitler. What did the Jews call themselves when Hitler was having them put in the ovens? What the Jews call themselves? What was the Jews doing? What was the Jews doing to promote that they should be put in ovens? What were they doing?
Can I? You really want to answer? You really want to answer?
No, I'm asking.
Okay, so the Jews wasn't calling themselves anything. So before Hitler put them in the ovens, there was propaganda going about, German propaganda.
I do understand the propaganda. And that's why I said that.
Here's the cutoff, right? There it is. As soon as I get to the answer.
No. You answered the question. Now you're going into something else.
I did it.
I asked what the Jews did, not what somebody else did.
So first of all,
we're
making the point that you have to destroy the image before you destroy the person, right? That's what we're talking about. So the debate is that the Jews.
You never answered Roger's question. You never answered Roger's question.
I did.
No, I'm saying you never answered Roger's question. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And the reason why you didn't answer the question is because you would have to concede that the Jews did not use any derisive language to describe themselves, and they still got put in gas chambers.
I stopped. Right? I was quiet. It was you and Shark. I stopped. Please, all right? I'm telling you, I'm chilling. Please. All right, we can move on. Please don't push me.
All I said was you didn't answer Roger's question. That's the only thing I did.
I'm just saying I let go, right? I was quiet.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of acting somewhat female here because you didn't answer the question.
He did.
Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God.
No, he didn't. It was a simple question. What did the Jews do?
This motherfucker.
Just give him a 5-word answer to the question.
No. Fuck.
Well, Roger,
when people want to destroy you, they will destroy you. But I will concede. Shark. I will concede, Shark. We should talk about the. I'm talking to Shark right now. We should talk about whether we should use that word publicly. I'll concede that point.
I'm talking to you right now. Hold on. I'm going to exercise wisdom and walk away and let it go. Now, if that is female to you, then let that be female to you. But right now, I'm just chilling. But the next time you tell me that, you're going to have a problem.
Well, the Jews weren't running around calling themselves kikes. And that is the reason why.
Dude, don't use that term on the show. Don't say that word.
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead, but don't say
Jesus
that
Christ.
word.
You can tell you.
Roger,
We can tell you from New York. We can tell you from New York.
You gotta privatize that.
Look. Let me say
But no,
this.
no,
Let me say this.
but hold on, Roger.
Hold
That's the
on. Let me
magic.
say this.
No,
Let me
That's
say
the
this.
magic of the
Here,
you
internet.
said no,
hold
no.
on. Let me say.
You said enough, Shark. You
Hey,
said enough.
hold on. Look, here at the Roger Report Live, we do not support calling any group of people out of their name, especially a derogatory term that was designed. Whoever got that background noise, y'all cut it off, please.
That's
Mute
reset
yourself.
ass.
Look, we do not support somebody using derogatory terms that is against a people's race or religion of any kind. That is not supported here at the Roger Report Live. That's why I told him, do not say that word. We are not going to speak in those terms on this channel. That will not be allowed. Okay, go ahead, make your point
And I
without using language like that.
and I apologize. I apologize to Larry David and all the rest of them. I definitely apologize. But that is the magic. That is the magic of your enemy. That you had to do that disclaimer, but you can still call yourselves niggas and think that it's a
No,
powerful word to use on yourself.
no. The reason I had to do that is because they own it.
No.
When you have to respect the owners of platforms. The owners can do what they want with their stuff.
It don't matter where you at. People don't.
It don't matter where you are in America who own what. You can't say that nowhere in America. Nowhere.
You don't have Jewish people making songs about calling themselves that. You don't have Asian people making songs about calling themselves this or that. We the only ones who keep casting spells on ourselves and then complaining about some mythological crazy white man.
Oh, okay. And what I'm saying is,
you don't got no power. You are the gods of the earth. There's no one more powerful
I appreciate
than you.
I appreciate you supporting my argument, because the people who didn't do anything to themselves, they still got railroaded too. You supported my argument. Thank you. Now, again, when it comes to what's going on, when it comes to what's going on with this woman, if this is real, which none of us truly really believe is real. I don't think it's real in this case. And I know this happens on a regular basis, except the brother don't get a dinner first. I know women call the police on their son. And I do honestly believe it's because ain't no check tied behind the son no more. You get to 17 years old, your birthday is coming, you put the guy in the prison system, you start the process. By the time his 18th birthday comes and that last check is received, now he's already locked up where he's not in your home without a check. Women do that on a regular basis. And I know that because I see it. Okay? I know women who've done locked their sons up because, and they'll tell you all kinds of stuff on why they did it. But the truth is, ain't no more checks coming. He ain't going to college. She never encouraged him to do anything. He was able to basically do what he wanted in his high school years. And now there's no money behind his name anymore. Long as his daddy had to send a check, he could be there. But now daddy getting to the point, it's 2-3 months left. Daddy still got to do those checks. But by the time that last check is received, this nigga's now gone.
See?
That's how it is for a black woman. She see a nigga. Don't make no difference that it's her son. It's a nigga.
I don't think it's that. I think they lose control of you at a certain age. And they use that white man to take control of you.
This is the only time women actually count anything. It's a calculus. It's how much are they getting versus how much they're spending. It's the only time in their lives they actually do a calculus of what something costs. It's the only time.
I have to disagree. The reason why she called the cops on him is because when she sees him, she sees the father that she hates. And because she can't take,
I agree that's part of it, but timing does say something.
Why can't I finish my statement? I don't understand. Everybody
go ahead.
finish. So that's why she does shit like this, because at the end of the day, right? I mean, we see it as early as the boys in the hood, right? Ricky was cool, Ricky was loved, Doughboy was hated. Said you ain't shit, your father ain't shit, blah 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 blah, right? We see it all the time. You got to understand something. Understand the psychosis of women, psychosis of people, right? If I had a relationship with a man who got me pregnant, or let me say it in a more acceptable way. I was foolish enough to get pregnant by a man who did me dirty, in my opinion, and I hate this dude. Every time I see this child, I'm gonna hate them too.
I agree that is part of it. When a person is almost 18 and not finna get a check, to me, the greater thing to the woman at the time is the check. Okay, I'm not going to even say she counting well, but the greater thing to her is that check.
One of the things we don't know about, or we're not as acutely associated with, and I'm not discounting what you're saying, Hassel. So, I mean, I think that a degree of I don't know what what is the term for hating the father of your children? There's got to be a term for that, specific term for that. But I'm sure that is all. That is almost always some element of it. But I think what we as men don't know is how much of motherhood is supplemented in this country economically. If you really pay attention to if you are a woman and you dealing with women, you know about all these financial things that are going on.
Yeah, absolutely, 80-90%.
And so
food, clothing,
so you know. Yeah. But I'm saying that there's things that they're getting that we don't even really see. Like and we don't even necessarily even hear about. But if you're in a house with them, maybe whatever, you see the mail that's coming from this federal organization, or it's coming from this state, or you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
90
and so
well-being is covered.
Right. So the point that Roger's making about how they're being it is an important part of the discussion, in addition to the misandry and the timing of it and the age, and when he ages out of this, or when this program has ended. Trump is now president, so what used to be supplemented by the federal government is no longer being supplemented by a lot of shit like that. Is a part of this stuff as well.
I can definitely see that, but you have to. You have to have hate in your heart to do that. Like, because there's a difference between just get out of my house because you don't check. All right, just get out, right? But to call the police and ruin your future, that has to be hate in your heart. That has to be more than just a check.
I definitely agree with that.
Hold fast. I let them go because they the privileged people. I got to read these super chats, and Chef Mike done came up, so I got to give him room to get in too. Shout out to Turkish Tyrone. He said, Roger and brothers, anti-black misandry is a pillar and cornerstone of American culture. Everybody loves to hate us, including other black folks. Stay strong. Hey, appreciate you, Turkish Tyrone, for that. Thank you very much, my brother. And I do think that has a whole lot to do with it, which is why I actually agree with what you're saying, brother. Hot sauce. I can't see what your actual name is today, but I do agree with what you said. I think that is part of it. Shout out to Landon. He says my brother is law enforcement, I guess. Just another Wednesday. Just another. Okay, I don't understand what that reference at this point. Sorry, brother, I didn't get it in earlier. To understand the reference on now, you have to tell me what that is. And I believe it was one more. Shout out to Turkish Tyrone again. He says only 4 people try to justify mistreatment. And I'm gonna say that's part of our training at the end of the day, because we all go through white supremacist training. When you're a normal person who lives in America, we all go through the training. It's just about how we gonna deal with the training we've gone through. But it's there for all of us at the end of the day. Okay. But Chef Mike is here, so I'm gonna let him kick it off, and then the rest of us can get in after his opening statement. Chef Mike, you have the floor, my brother.
Hey, what's going on, Roger? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to find yourselves on this Tuesday. Greet everybody on the panel. Elder, as always, it's a privilege to share the panel with you. Listen, I jumped up and I'm sorry I came up so late, but I want to throw something out for discussion. What I saw here in this production, because yeah, this is just fake for me. I'm sorry, but what I saw in this production is I've heard this term used before. It's called main character syndrome. Ever since the advent of social media, and everybody now has a camera in their hand, you find a lot of women, black women especially, who become the main character on their camera, and they develop a main character syndrome. So they have to do everything to garner attention. And whether or not the attention is warranted, whether it's good attention, bad attention, it doesn't matter. It's attention. And what I do see is slowly happening is that society, well, it's not even slowly happening anymore. It's a gradual slope, but it's very, very slippery. Society is being re-engineered for something that we don't yet see coming. And society is actually being structured and restructured in a way that will facilitate some very difficult times coming in the future. But when you have a whole demographic of women who are inundated with this main character syndrome, everything that they do seems right because they have an audience. They have an audience to tell them, yes, girl, go girl. But now I want to look at something on the opposite side. Remember when there was a series of fathers who were, their sons or their children were acting up in school, and they would cut their son's hair in a George Jefferson kind of way. Or one son wanted to join a gang, and his dad put on camera, he punched him in the face and said, y'all want to come get me, y'all got to come to me. They got so much backlash for standing up and doing something, and all you heard was you're gonna hurt them kids, you're gonna damage them, you're introducing trauma. And I want to ask, what are these women doing now? This is a perfect example of a woman who has let her main character syndrome present her as an unfit mother. I know this is a production because one, you don't catch it in the middle of the story. Like, and I heard Roger say this. You don't catch this in the middle of the story. If you can catch the whole thing from beginning to end, you know it stayed.
Yeah.
And what woman is gonna be sitting there? And I want to bring y'all back. I want to bring y'all's attention back to oh goodness, Samuel L. Jackson, Jungle Fever. Samuel L. Jackson and Jungle Fever. And I want you to look at his mama with her strung out baby to see the heartbreak because she got to do this just to save her baby. You ain't gonna tell me that these people have that same nurturing spirit as a mother. These are not these are not mothers. These are just women with children. And they present themselves as unworthy. They present themselves as so unworthy, and they have no idea the damage that the story does in the end. I'm gonna land my plane right there.
Victoria Frankenstein's.
Hmm.
Well, I just want to say this because I think not Shark, Chef, you're onto something there because as we're moving as we're moving into a laborless economy, right? We're moving into the attention economy. That's how most people will get money in the future. is how well you can demand the audience. That's how people are going to get paid. Because as automation slowly takes over everything, the only thing left is going to be the attention economy. And so you're going to see things like that. And unfortunately, black boys are going to suffer. Black children are going to suffer, and black boys in particular.
Well, can I say something real quick too? Chef, where the hell was you at last week? Black Reset needed his soup taken 10 times, and you was nowhere to be found. God damn it!
I got away with it. We need to cut his check. No call, no show.
Black Reset was showing his ass last week. And he wasn't nowhere to be found.
The hate is real.
Chef, I want to press charges on Gronk and Great Reset.
Yeah, Gronk too. Gronk too was showing his ass.
Wow.
See us sending black men to prison.
You just gonna throw
and Chef, if you can no suit the back chat, I want to press charges on no placeholder too.
Wow.
I want to take all them to a steak dinner and call Chef Mike on their ass.
Me and no placeholder gonna bond out because the local white supremacist lodge gonna get us out, so we good.
Oh my goodness! Look. Let me show y'all how y'all done dressed me up and how y'all done made me look. Now, first, I've gone from the pit where I went from the pit master to the soup Nazi. I had no soup for you, okay? And now y'all got me taking folks to the train station, but we calling it a steak dinner. Y'all ain't finna set me up for the okie doke.
You 5-0, brother. You 5-0. Roger said the Chef Mike 5-0 and is the pick. You 5-0.
Wow.
Okay,
so now, if I tell y'all I got to take you for a steak dinner, you already know.
I'm pressing charges
What's getting ready to happen.
I'm pressing charges on Gronk. I'm pressing charges on Reset. I'm pressing charges on Zulu, and I'm pressing charges on no placeholder.
Oh,
Hot sauce, you got some independent charges your damn self, man.
Here is where I'm gonna remove myself from the niggatry that's going on right now and say, look, y'all, I'm totally shocked and surprised at these men right now. Trying to have Chef lock up everybody. I don't participate in trying to lock a bunch of niggas up. I don't do that. I see them as men. I don't see them as niggas to be locked up. So I don't know what they on right now. And shout out to No Placeholder. He says, what the F? You guys are completely unhinged, okay? So I think he's just as surprised as I am that these accusations are even being brought to the table right now. I'm going to try to stay on the subject of the show instead of getting people locked up. That's just me, okay? I don't know what y'all on right now. I don't know what y'all on. I'm just glad to see Chef back and participate. And that's all it is to me.
I talk on some major white supremacy right now. He trying to get all of us.
But Roger, see the irony. See the irony and the power of the gynocracy, that it has the power to even infiltrate the roundest of round tables.
I'm disappointed right now. I'm disappointed.
Roger,
remember they were protesting the murder, the police killing. What was it, Freddie Gray? What was that his name? Y'all can remind me.
Yep. George Floyd was the big man, and the Freddie Gray was one of them.
No,
Freddie Gray was Baltimore.
Freddie Gray. Now, remember, there was a lot of young people in particular protesting. Now, remember that one incident, I don't remember the names of the people involved, where the black mother came and tore her son. He might have been a teenager, maybe he was a young man.
Oh, yeah.
From the crowd and was publicly bludgeoning him. Yep. Remember how she was celebrated for doing that? Don't y'all remember that?
I remember that. Yep.
Don't y'all remember that?
Very clearly.
Yep.
Absolutely.
This is kind of analogous to that. And because remember how everybody was celebrating. And notice how in particular Fox TV, that woman was a hero to Fox TV. Now we know what Fox TV does, and in particular, what Fox TV thinks and
Did Tucker
feels
Carlson
about
have wrong? Did Tucker
black
Carlson have
people,
wrong?
especially black men. I'm sure Tucker Carlson was all over that. Him and Hannity and those guys. I'm sure they were.
One thing,
Y'all don't know how to appreciate good
one
programming.
thing,
That's what it is.
one thing we have to always remember and accept. We are still, and when I say we, I mean America as a whole. We are still the great experiment. This is still an ongoing experiment, y'all. This is still an ongoing experiment, y'all. And we have to just simply remember that. This is an ongoing experiment, unique in any other place on the face of this world.
And to that, I want to say people should also remember that this experiment about a people being able to rule themselves, from day one, there's a lot of people against that thought process. That thought process has always been amongst Americans. And at the end of the day, a lot of people just don't agree that a people can rule themselves. And I'm going to say, in this country as a whole, every group of people in this country do not believe black men should be able to rule themselves. And I think to Black Uru's point, it shows that, and with the stuff that we talked about, the other fathers that were mentioned, in our society, people believe a black man cannot raise his child, but a black woman should.
Yeah.
And whatever decision she makes is fine as long as he ain't got nothing to do with it, meaning that black father. Yeah. And in this scenario, you don't see a black father who has something to do with it. So now what happened with the people they saw it? They celebrated it.
Oftentimes you do see that through the media portrayal of these things. You see the strong black mother. The black mother is always portrayed as the strong, caring, loving. Even when she goes as far as putting her hands on a child, they still celebrate that, right? That's not a problem for a black woman to do because she's doing it out of love. But you ever show a black man lay hands on this child trying to discipline them, and then that's a different story. But the black woman is always celebrated in American society as strong, independent, loving, caring, trying her best, right? But then the black father is portrayed as absent. He's not even shown this there at all.
What the thing
well, you get in that Freddie Gray protest as well as here, you get a twofer, right? You get a black mother. Well, particularly in the Freddie Gray thing, because you had two things that happened that white people didn't like. They did not like the police being protested for that incident, right? They reviled that protest. So you got that activity sort of as a refutation of the protest, and then you also got the added benefit of seeing a black boy get his ass beat by his mama. What could be more entertaining to America than that?
Well, the fact that they also got to blame it all on black police officers too.
That was a part of it as well. So you got a threefer.
Sit back and say that police officers that did it were black. So what are y'all talking about?
Again, this is still the great experiment. And society is being engineered for someone else's gain. This society is continually being engineered for someone else's gain. And now I want to be clear when I say this. I don't put a color, a race, a ethnicity, or a creed on that statement. I put money on that statement. I put green on that statement. Because we are being engineered for someone else's gain, and all they're looking for, and all of them that have conspired, all of them have one thing in common, and that's money. And that crosses race, creeds, colors, and ethnicities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna tell you, it's easy to get people
to even be racist if there's a financial benefit to it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, white people know there's a financial benefit to being racist.
Roger.
So when
Roger.
you
Hold
see,
on.
go ahead.
Roger. Black folks know it's a financial benefit to being racist. Latin folks know it's a financial benefit to being racist.
Man.
Jewish folks know.
What?
Indian folks know. Hindus know. Jews and Gentiles, black men, white men, Protestants and Catholics all know
Wow.
that there is a financial benefit in being racist.
Absolutely, because I was gonna name a few other groups myself, but you didn't pretty much got the whole board covered. And I'm gonna say at the end of the day, there's a unique racism against black men in this country that everyone wants a financial benefit from. So when you think about even what was presented here, if the woman's going to send the child to jail because she said they got people in the front, they got people in the back. Now it may only be one car in the front and one car in the back, but that's pretty much enough for what's probably a teenage guy. It's probably enough. You know what I'm saying? And where is he going to run when his mama is the one presenting him to the police? Where he going to run to? You know, he can't run home. That's out the picture. You know, so where he going to go? And so everybody looks at we about to make some money off this nigga. Oh, I'm just saying everybody's going to look at this and say we about to make some money off this nigga, and we good with that. We should celebrate the fact that we have a black mother turning those wretched niggas in. We need to encourage other black mothers to do the same. And I'm pretty sure some of these people who even made comments, they looked at this like, this can't be real. And they made the comment anyway. Celebrate her so we can encourage more black mothers to just go ahead and start turning their sons in before they even have a chance to start a real life. Because that's good for us. Screw them niggas. Now, whoever's going to say whatever they was going to say, go ahead.
All right. This is what I'm going to say. I want you all to actually look at what's being presented. This woman is pretending to be a character off of TV. I don't care if it's Olivia Pope. I don't care if it's what's the show with the madam, the America's Next Top Model girl. She the madam over all of these strippers and everything, and wield so much power she just walk in. This is what these women. What's that now?
Are you talking about Tyra Banks?
Not Tyra Banks. The other one. It's a show, a series where she's in charge of like a strip club.
Oh, Jocelyn.
Type stuff.
Jocelyn Hernandez.
Yeah. So it's like y'all trying to be that. So you put a camera, you have someone to hold the camera as if that's you. That is psychosis.
Yep. Man.
These bras are bad. Like bad. Because this is what you want to be seen. You want to be seen as someone with power, with influence. That's why she could sit there and be like, the police in the front and in the back. Y'all ain't nobody coming for you like that. You ain't got that kind of power. That's TV.
Yeah. Chef Mike.
What police gonna be sitting out there while you complete a meal when you calling them on a black man? They gonna come in there, snatch him up. He ain't gonna get the taste, not never that chimichurri sauce, and you got the nerve to want us to believe that you sitting down here like Don Corleone or something? Man, get out of here.
There is some sense of power in that, though. Now, in reality, there is no power, right? And that's educated men, right? But Hot Sauce mentioned something earlier. You talked about us going into the attention economy. When people are going on people's Instagram and saying how many followers they have and how many likes and stuff they have on their videos, that's currency in the modern economy. That's currency. So if they can get a big enough audience, that is a little bit of power and influence. And that's problematic because you have people contributing anything to society that are able to garner some type of power and influence over impressionable minds.
Again, there is a financial benefit to being racist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is her financial benefit because
Well,
she does get that attention and courtesy.
we had a impressionable mind on the panel right now. Because if I heard correctly, Shark want to hit. If I heard correctly. If I heard correctly,
out of all the people, man.
If I heard correctly, Shark want to hit. Yeah.
Hey,
Now,
man.
come get his stick. Hold on. Before Shark has a chance to respond, look. Before Shark has a chance to respond, I gotta take this moment out to say, look, y'all. Some of y'all might be new to this. If you like this great type of content, you can get it Monday through Friday over here at the Roger Report Live. We do this at 9 a.m. Chicago time. Not where you happen to be. You got to check where you are compared to Chicago time to know when we come on, 9 a.m. And before Shark has a good chance to respond, I got to tell y'all, we are past the 3-hour mark. This is a 3-hour show. We are 4 minutes past, and we better bring this to a close. There will be no closing statements today. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. Yeah, I'm getting them right now. I'm right. And I'm out.
Damn, Shark, you treated you just like